Daytona Beach, Florida, the normally quiet city along the East Coast, known around the world for one thing: racing. What began on the hard-packed sands of the beach later moved inland to the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. Who'll grab a piece of racing history today by winning at Daytona?
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown. Today, it's the Camping World 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at the famed Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. This place that for so many years has drawn people from around the world again has thousands of fans filing into the massive grandstands. While down in the pit and garage areas, the drivers are getting ready for competition too. Defending series champion Clint Boyer among those getting ready to start a 2009 campaign that we hope is exciting, as was the finish of last season's racing.
Hi guys, championship all starts here.
Clint Boyer gets the win.
Here comes Edwards.
Awesome job.
Putting all the pressure he can on Clint Boyer.
Oh!
1-2 and the points come together.
That's it. Drive that damn thing. Let's go.
Can Carl Edwards continue to chip away at the point lead, or will Clint Boyer grab the momentum back?
And Edwards will get the win.
It's on to Homestead with a championship fight.
Carl Edwards will win the battle, but will not win the war. And the 2008 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion is Clint Boyer.
What was it like beating Carl Edwards this race this year?
We've raced a long time. We're both from the Midwest. So he's a good competitor. He's last year's champion. It feels really good to be able to beat him.
Congratulations to Clint. I got to get beat by somebody. It's a dirt racer from Emporia, Kansas.
And here we are now at the start of the 2009 season with the champ, who's not going to contend for the Drivers' Championship this year. So going into it, you have a partial schedule with this ride. What are the goals?
Just win races. You know, go out there and have fun and enjoy my 10 races in the 29 Holiday Inn car. You know, sharing duties with Jeff Burton and Stephen Light. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. You know, a lot of new for me this year with the Cheerios car over on the Cup side. So I need to focus, you know, a little bit more on helping a new team get up and going and, you know, being successful over there.
You have a lot of the old on the Nationwide side with the same team. How was the car over there, and how will it be in today's race?
Yeah, the same hot rod as we ran here, I think here last year. Qualified second last year and third this year. So, you know, the old girl seems to be pretty fast. We just got to put it in the right situation at the end, be there at the end, and, you know, hopefully race for a win.
We'll see if the old guy can put it in victory lane today. Alan?
David, thank you. It is such a massive place, this Daytona track, 2.5 miles around. The people, the grandstands, the infield scene, and right in the heart of it all is our ESPN pit studio, where we're all buckled in and fired up to get this season started. There we are, right next to Victory Lane in the middle of the Sprint Fan Zone here at the World Center of Racing. Inside, Alan Bestwick with Rusty Wallace, Brad Daugherty, and Ray Evernham. Welcome to our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season of 2009. For a driver, for a crew chief, for a team owner, what's the first race of the year like?
I can tell you, buddy, it's nerves. Everybody's nervous out there. They've been cooped up for 2.5 months, Alan. No practice, no nothing until today. They've got everything as best they can get it, but still, they're a box of nerves. Will my car handle? Can I get through the first 10 laps? Will I crash? What's going to happen? And Brad, you got to agree, buddy, they're doing this down there.
Absolutely. And without the testing, it has cooped these guys up. And a crew member told me earlier this week, it's the best analogy I've ever heard. He says, Brad, I cannot wait until we can fire these things up tomorrow. I can get gouged up, get cut, get a little grease on my fingernail, smell those fumes, take it in. I cannot wait. And I told him, I said, I can't either. It's time to go racing.
Well, you know, as I walk through the garage area, there's different moods. You know, we got the veterans that believe, oh, hey, I'm here to get my job done, and then you got the rookies that are excited about going. But through that garage area, there's a sense of people being more prepared than they have and more rested. And I think that's because of the non-testing policy.
Yeah, you're right.
People were very anxious to get through the gates, and it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the first race of the season. This track and this race have such a long history. It's so special. 51 years ago, this race started as the modified sportsman doubleheader the day before the first Daytona 500. Banjo Matthews won the race. He's a NASCAR legend for sure. Talk about rush hour. 1960, the race started 73 cars and wrecked 37 of them on lap 2. That thinned the herd. The first weekend sweep of the 300 and 500 happened in 1969 when Leroy Yarborough did the double. One of the greats in this race, Bill Dennis, taking 3 straight 300s, 1972, 73, and 74. And 1982, the first race of what is now the Nationwide Series, was won by the great Dale Earnhardt. Those just some of the many thrilling moments we've seen in this opening weekend of the season.
Chad Little started way in the back, had to take a provisional to get into the field. Started 42nd out of 45. Look at Little now, he's going to go inside, and Chad Little's going to beat Michael Walker.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. to win the 46th running of the Great American Race.
He's trying to back up his big victory in the Daytona 500 yesterday with a sweep.
What did we say? His father won 5 of these in a row.
The legacy continues.
Dale Earnhardt is going to do it. He's going to win his 5th consecutive Goodies 500.
Bobby Allison takes the checkered flag in the Goodies 300.
Bobby Allison, the winner of the 30th annual Great American Race.
Oh, trouble. One car upside down.
Casey Atwood. Atwood's car is destroyed. Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick drafted together to the front to win the Hershey's Take 5 300.
Kevin Harvick wins.
And Harvick's getting a run off turn 4. It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the finish line. Here they come, checkered flag. Harvick.
I don't know what it is about the place, but you just have great races when you come here to Daytona. Looking back on them brings back so many memories for me. I've been here now 24 years and seen many of those in person. Ray, you've won here at Daytona. You've held the trophy in Victory Lane. Can you put into words what it means to win here?
This is the ultimate arena for a stock car racer. And when you come here, there's been so much tradition, history. I mean, legends are created here. So it's a very humbling place. I can remember when we won our first Daytona 500. I didn't know if I should laugh or cry. It just makes you reflect on everything, and it brings a sense of peace when you have a victory here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 1979, I was just a little fella. Well, I've never been a little fella. I was much younger, sitting in my mom's couch, as I've told everyone, watching the Daytona 500 for the first time with my dad. It was a great experience, and you go throughout this country and you say Daytona, everyone knows that is synonymous with great history and great racing.
Well, I can tell you one thing, there is a lot of history here, but one thing hard about this place, man, it is hard to win. It's really hard to win. I've tried it many times, got real close, but baby, no cigar. But I will tell you, it is the first race of the year. It sets the mood right off the bat. It gets your pit crews jacked up, it gets your fans jacked up, and if you can somehow win at Daytona Beach, the first race, buddy, that pays big dividends.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff. And
sets the tone.
It does. And we've got a great tone started on this edition of NASCAR Countdown, getting ready for the green flag at Daytona. And we got a lot more stories to tell you about. Our ESPN pit reporters have them. Let's start with Jamie Little.
Well, Alan, if you remember back to last season, Kyle Busch won an unprecedented 10 races. That was on a part-time schedule. So that left one question on a lot of people's minds. What was Kyle Busch capable of if he ran a full season? Well, we're about to find out. He is competing for the championship, will run all 35 races. Coming up, I'll ask him about it. Dave Burns?
Jamie, Jason Leffler has contended for the championship in the past few years, but they've never achieved that goal in the 38 car. In a few moments, we'll talk to the driver of the 38, who's had some unexpected work done to this race car, yet still qualified at the front of the grid. Shannon?
Dave, yesterday in Nationwide qualifying, Greg Biffle said his number 16 car drove beautifully on the track by itself. But will it be as pretty when it's going 3 wide in the race today? I'll ask Greg Biffle coming up on Countdown. Vince Welch?
Tony Stewart has been all smiles during Speed Weeks. His hero, A.J. Foyt, is here. His Cup car is running strong, and he's running the Nationwide car for Rick Hendrick. Coming up, I'll talk with the defending race winner about hooking up with Mr. H and his pursuit of a 4th Daytona Nationwide victory. Alan Bestwick?
All right, Vince, all that and much more on our Daytona edition of NASCAR Countdown. NASCAR Countdown is brought to you by Applebee's. It's a whole new neighborhood. Beginning to gather around the driver's introduction stage at the Daytona International Speedway as we close in on the Camping World 300, the season opener for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Just a touch over an hour till the cars roar up to full speed. There's Carl Edwards, the 2006 Nationwide Series champ, who enters the new season hoping 09 is as fine as his 08 was great.
We got a good car, we got a good driver. We know who we got to beat. Go fast on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Here we go. Carl Edwards pulls away. Carl Edwards goes back. time in 2008.
Awesome. Great job, guys. That's it. Checkered flag. Good job.
Here's Carl Edwards. Listen to this crowd.
500 laps and then do a backflip.
Carl Edwards will win it Saturday and Sunday.
It's over, right? We won? You won, buddy. You won. You are the winner.
His crew is amazing today, guys.
Awesome job, guys. It means a lot to win here. Thank you so much.
They've done everything right today, and it's going to get them another victory.
Carl Edwards will win the battle, but will not win the war.
We'll be back next year. I hope Clint comes back and races with us. That'd be fun.
Carl Edwards gets his 9th win of the year, and Jimmy Johnson makes history.
And we gave it our best effort. We got beat by a true champion, Jimmy Johnson.
Well, for all that Carl Edwards accomplished in 2008, especially the finish of the season, for example, he enters today riding a streak of 9 straight top 5 finishes in the Nationwide car. He says the difference for 09 is in the details.
Carl Edwards takes it.
Yeah, baby. Awesome race.
In 2008, Carl Edwards does it again.
Carl Edwards came up short at the end of the 2008 season, finishing 2nd in both the Nationwide and Sprint Cup Series. An offseason that included a trip to Thailand with his buddies.
I just got you a t-shirt.
Game over.
And tying the knot with his hometown sweetheart, Kate, Carl Edwards has developed a new outlook for 2009.
I feel very fortunate to do what I do. For a long time, it was a goal that, seemed unachievable. And during that time, while I was working really hard at it, that's really what defined me. And now it's different because my focus is not on some big, complicated goal. It's just to win these races and win championships. The 2008 season was one that I think kind of sent that home. We did everything really well. And we were very close.
What a year. A great fight all the way to the end.
I learned how important the small things are. When the championship comes down to one wreck here or one mistake.
Oh, got trouble up front.
I always worry about the idiots when we come here, and I was the guy that caused that one.
Just has got huge implications for Carl Edwards and this team.
It's amazing to go into a new season, 2009, with just very slightly different expectations or goals. A couple more points here or there. No big changes, and it could be a great year.
In the feature, Carl talked about slightly different goals to achieve slightly better results in 2009. How does that play out today at Daytona, Carl?
I was just talking to the Scots guys, and I said, man, we've got to start this season like we started 2007. We've got to get all the points we can and then think about winning races later once we get a cushion, hopefully, but we just definitely don't want to start in a hole here. Don't want to be wrecked, but it is Daytona, so at the end of this thing, if we're still running, you got to take a little risk to try to win it. So it's a balancing act today.
Well, how good is your race car to try to get that cushion at the first race of the year?
I don't know how good our race car is. It seems pretty good. It seems pretty fast. The track is real slippery, which makes it a lot of fun, but I have a feeling that we're going to be making some adjustments, trying to get the thing handling really well, and that's going to be the key today, other than not being in the wreck that I'm usually in. But it should be a fun race. As long as we come out here with the top 10, I'll be happy.
One other slight change for last year's runner-up in the championship, Carl has a new crew chief this year, and we wondered just how well they knew each other.
Seems like a lot of times, though, the worst experiences with crew chiefs I have is when Jack or somebody calls me and says, hey, Carl, I hope this is all right, but we're changing crew chiefs, and you're going to meet this new guy. I didn't know what Dan looked like or anything about him, so when the guy came over with the sign-in sheet, he walks up in the hauler, I was changing, and he's like, hey, you got to sign this, and I was like, Dan? My first impression of Dan was, thought it was a signing guy. Really? Yeah, and he's awfully forward with the clipboard, The most important thing, I think, to me was just I made sure he knew that no matter what anybody says, whatever he thinks is the fastest way to make the race car go, that's fine with me. Changing crew chiefs sometimes is really tough because a guy like Dan has to come in and has to listen to everybody tell him, Carl likes this or Carl likes that or whatever. And I told him, man, you just do whatever's fastest.
We're looking forward to a really good year, and it's going to be hard to top what he's done in the past, but we want to do that. We got to give him what he needs, and then that's how our relationship builds, I think.
I have a feeling of if I'm upset about something, Dan will be upset too. We probably won't have to communicate our emotions with one another. That's generally how it seems to work.
Yeah, if he's frustrated, like you said, I'll be frustrated too, I'm pretty sure.
We're not going to be frustrated.
No, we're not frustrated.
I'll tell you when you'll know I'm happy if I'm doing a backflip.
Yeah,
then we'll be perfect.
Exactly.
We got to do more TV stuff together. I've learned a lot about you. You're a natural, dude.
Who's the guy with the sign-in sheet? Oh, he's my crew chief.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Did I call Carl the 06 champion before? I got to slow down when I type. 6, 7. Anyway, so Edwards has a new crew chief who's new to the Roush Fenway team. What's it mean?
I think it's going to mean a lot. I really do. I don't think that the performance on a racetrack, the way the car runs, is really going to be any different. But he could, with a brand new crew chief at one of the biggest races of the year, make some mistakes in the pits or maybe some calls. And I think those things, they'll clean up after a while. But, man, right off the bat, Alan, I don't know if I'd put a new crew chief in right at the biggest race right now, right off the bat.
Now, I think this is going to be more about building a team than it is going to be about the car. I think they both know what to do. Carl knows how to drive. His crew chief knows how to set the car up. But they've got to work on communication. And I'll throw this one off to Brad because the guy that I learned team the most about from was reading Pat Riley. Yeah. And he used to say, trust, honesty, and respect builds a great team. And that's what those guys have got to do.
Absolutely. Those are the building blocks. And along with that comes chemistry. Chemistry creates momentum, which is so important in this sport. That will be the thing that will be interesting to watch throughout the season. We know Carl's a great race car driver. Dan comes over from DEI. He has experience. But will they be able to build chemistry? It's going to be interesting.
Carl Edwards starts 10th today based on what we've seen in practice. We think he might be pretty good, but he said he wasn't so sure about his car in the race. Our J-Ski news and notes. A couple of things that have been adjusted by NASCAR where rules are concerned. First of all, the procedures for restarts. Remember they go to the single file restart in the last 10 laps of the race previously with the lap cars falling behind all the lead lap cars. That's been expanded out to 20 laps to go now to try and give the guys racing for the win a little more room in the final laps. And NASCAR is going to use a sealed engine rule in the Nationwide Series. Beginning at the Texas race April 4th, the quick summary on it is you can only use a new or newly rebuilt engine 3 straight races. You'll have to use an engine previously run and then sealed by NASCAR every 4th race or sooner. Build them to last, and it'll save money in the long run, is the theory there. And a new marking you'll see on the track today. NASCAR's adjusted the way restarts will be judged. Remember the old in the vicinity of the double red lines where that white stripe goes across the track? See the double red lines on the wall? Well, now NASCAR has established a restart zone. From the time the leader reaches those double red lines to when he gets to that next single red line on the wall, the leader's in command of the restart. But once he gets to that next line, NASCAR's going to throw the green flag and everything's on. Guys behind him can pass to the right as they always will. So taking maybe a little bit of the gamesmanship out of the restarts for 2009. Thoughts on all of those rules changes, any or all?
That's a lot. I mean, the thought that kicks my mind right off the bat is the lines on the wall. I mean, as a driver, you got so much anticipation. You're fired up. You're thinking about winning. You really don't multitask real well. You're thinking about one thing at a time. And now you got 2 lines, and you're like, okay, which one is it that I can get my job done in? So there's going to be a little confusion there. They will figure it out after time.
Well, at the end of the year, it got a little goofy with some of the restarts in the races. It was very, very difficult. I thought it kind of messed up some of the races. So I like that. You still, with the 20 laps to go, you still cannot get the lucky dog after 10 laps, so guys won't be too confused on that. Yep. And everything's good. I think it's a good set of rules that will help. It'll save between 30 and 70 grand a race on that sealed engine program, so that's outstanding.
And I'm very impressed. I sat down with Joe Ballas before the garages opened the other day, and they really have a good handle on making the racing better. Now the restart thing, I know Rusty doesn't like that because he jumped you all over the place for years. He used to beat us like that all the time. But you know, we saw at the end of last year a lot of incidents that caused crashes, and maybe it'll take some of that away. But NASCAR, especially in the Nationwide Series, has got some really good ideas on cost savings, so I'm excited about what they're doing.
And the name that Ray mentioned, Joe Ballas, is the director of the series for NASCAR, the Nationwide Series. He's kind of the top technical cop in the garage area for that division. We are at Daytona International Speedway where the fans are filing in. They are ready for the first race of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. 43 drivers chasing the thrill of victory over 300 miles.
Tony Stewart will come down and win at Daytona. Tony Stewart will win back-to-back.
Oh, where's the Mexico City, boys? That's what I'm talking about.
Stewart takes the win at Talladega.
Whatever it is, yeah!
start is going to win at Kentucky.
The 20 car goes to victory lane once again. Win number 9 for crew chief Dave Rogers.
I mean, not taking anything away from the talent over there and the effort that those guys put in, those, the 20 car and stuff, but Monkey could win in that car. I mean, it just doesn't, it's not even testing their talents right now.
Well, Joe Gibbs Racing's number 20 team sure was spectacular last season, winning 9 races with 4 different drivers in the cars. Included in those wins, both Daytona races and the one at sister Speedway, Talladega. Now, the man who leads the 20 team, crew chief Dave Rogers, has been cleared by NASCAR to return to the track after he was suspended last August. But the Gibbs team's following through on their plan to add to Rogers' NASCAR punishment with their own. Dave will return at the California race next week. Joey Logano drives the 20 car today. Jamie?
And he has quite a busy second year here in NASCAR. He's going to be part-time in the Nationwide Series, full-time in that Home Depot number 20. Of course, a lot going on, Joey, but I have to ask you, running that Cup car for the last week, how will that affect your efforts here in the Nationwide Series?
I think it's going to do anything but help it, that's for sure. I think, just get more laps out there, drafting, all that stuff just helped me get better here at Daytona. I got a long learning curve as far as just drafting stuff, and then getting a feel for all these cars, the way they draft when cars are around you, all that stuff. So I think we had a pretty good GameStop Toyota today, and starting 8th, so see if we can get it to the front.
9 wins for the 20 car last year. You even got yourself a win. What are the chances of getting a win here at Daytona today?
We'll see. I think we got a good car, like I said. So, I think, Ron's crew chiefing it today. So, we'll see what we got. I think it'll be pretty good.
Well, this is where Tony Stewart won 1 year ago, kicked it all off for the Joe Gibbs organization. Joey Logano starts here for the first time, Alan.
So Joey Logano got a number of starts last year, but not a full season, and I think he was around so much that I know my impression was, okay, this is his second year. It's really not. But what do we expect from Logano and his efforts in this Nationwide Series this year?
I think Logano's just going to get better and better, Alan. I really do. I think he'll mature more. I think he'll drive better than he's been driving. He's been driving really good, I think. But there'll be tracks he'll be more patient at, and this is one of them. This week at Daytona. Yeah, this week at Daytona, he's hit the wall on 3 different occasions, and he's really got respect for this racetrack. And I think in today's race, Joey's going to have a great car. He'll do a good job out there.
I got really high expectations for Joey Logano. He busted into this Nationwide Series and was dominant right away. I think he'll go back to that. He came out of downforce race cars. He is really good in these cars. The COT car, the car of today, he's learning just like all those guys did. Remember, the car's only been around for 2.5, 3 seasons, and they had a head start on it. This kid is a superstar, phenom in waiting. He's going to have a great year this year.
And he is. He's going to have a great career. But you know what? I think we have to manage our expectations. I think we're putting unrealistic expectations on this kid.
He's going to win 15 races, right?
A bunch of media. We've got to let him keep his focus and learn, because he gets better every time he gets in a race car. But we've got to realize he's still 18 years old, and he's got a lot of experience to get yet.
You tell a kid it's 18 years old, he's pretty good. His head's going to get real big.
Exactly.
Right. I'll tell you that.
I really love the Home Depot commercial, the new one for this year, walking down the aisle. Yeah, we can help you with that. Get a crew. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
The man who will be on the outside of the front row at the start of this race is Matt Kenseth, and he is with Shannon right now.
Alan, we're just chit-chatting about the off-season, but right now it's time to go racing. A great starting position for Matt Kenseth, and all of your Roush Fenway teammates are in the top 10. So how quickly do you guys get together and work together in the draft?
I don't know. Hopefully we can stay somewhere in the front and get somewhat single file in case there is trouble. It'd be nice to be in front of it. So Matt did a really good job with this Ritz Crackers car. It's been handling really good, and it has a lot of speed. We had to make it on time, obviously, but we really didn't do anything extra to take Speedway for the race to make it better qualifying. So I feel pretty good about it.
All right. Now, Greg Biffle said that you guys had a running bet who was going to beat the other one in qualifying, and you won. Did you take him dinner last night?
Well, it wasn't really a bet, except for I just told him I was going to beat him. And since I was right, he did buy me dinner last night, actually. But drivers have nothing to do with qualifying here, so it's kind of fun to talk a little bit of smack. But it's all really about the team and the preparation at the shop and what the guys do here at the track. And they've done a great job this weekend so far.
Yep, absolutely. 17 rolls off second today, Alan.
All right, Shannon, thanks. There is Kenseth's car lined up on the grid as we get ready to go. Some drivers you will see in today's race that we haven't talked about yet. How about young Justin Allgaier? He's got a full series ride for Roger Penske this year, scheduled to start 32nd. He missed the driver's meeting. He'll start at the back. There's former Rookie of the Year Danny O'Quinn. Great qualifying run. Starts 7th in the 0 car. Joe Nemechek, the 98 winner of the race, starting 14th in the 87 car. And Jason Keller, the South Carolina veteran, hoping to contend for the championship. Car 27 today from 12th place on the grid. Valentine's Day today, not necessarily top of a driver's mind when he's at Daytona.
like a rose count. And I'm glad you reminded me of that because I've got to go get something for this weekend.
Our aerial coverage from Daytona today is brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. There has been quite a bit of great racing already during Speed Weeks. Last Saturday night, Kevin Harvick made a thrilling last laps charge to take the Budweiser Shootout Trophy. Then on Sunday, Martin Truex Jr. and Mark Martin grabbed the front row starting spots for the Daytona 500 in time trials. Thursday's 2 qualifying races for the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon took one. The other went to Kyle Busch. Both had thrilling finishes. And last night, Todd Bodine barely held off Kyle Busch to win the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series 250-miler. All told, 375 laps of racing competition since the gates opened last week, not including practice, qualifying, or the 24-hour sports car race a couple of weeks ago. We saw Kevin Harvick win the Budweiser Shootout. He will lead this field to the green flag today after winning the pole yesterday, Jamie.
Well, it's been a good week for Kevin Harvick already. He sits on the pole. So what does it mean to sit on the pole for you and your own equipment here at Daytona?
Well, it feels really good. We're proud of everybody from Jimmy John's and Chevrolet and this whole team for really kind of just paying attention to the details. And that was our goal over the winter, to pay attention to the details and really work on the stuff we had. So it means a lot to the guys for all the hard work they've done over the winter. We really worked on handling, and with that came speed, so that's a good thing.
That's a great thing. Back in 2007, of course, you won here nationwide, swept. You went on to win the 500. You won the Bud Shootout, as Alan said. What would it mean for you to go to victory lane finally in your own car?
Well, we've been close. We just, we made too many mistakes in the past to capitalize on the situations that we were in, and that's what it's going to be about today, is not making mistakes, and we've got a fast car, and we just need to take care of it.
Well, Alan, he said the handling's good, and he's got a fast car. I think the 33 is one to watch.
We will be watching Kevin as this race unfolds today. Now, not much has changed from last year to this, where the Nationwide Series cars are concerned this year, but for what's new with the cars and what's different here at Daytona, let's head over to our Craftsman Tech Garage, where Tim Brewer is inside with all kinds of new toys to play with this year. Tim?
Thank you very much, Alan, and welcome to the Craftsman Tech Garage. We've got as many tools, parts, and pieces in our garage as they have in the garage area working on the cars. But some of the changes they made in 2009 are for safety. That's the intrusion panel. It's a piece of steel that we actually weld to the roll cage to keep debris from going into the cockpit, maybe hurting the driver. Another thing that we've changed, we have an option from NASCAR. We can use the energy absorbing foam in the cars to absorb some of the impact. But another thing they've changed is some of the engine rules. And we're going to go over to my partner, Andy Petrie, for an explanation.
Thanks, Tim. The Chevrolet teams have a choice on which engine package they run in the series this year. They can run the old SB2 engine or the new RO7 engine, which has been approved for 2009, but that approval didn't come without some strings attached. And what does that mean here at Daytona? Daytona's all about restrictor plates, and if you run the old engine package, the SB2, you can run a 29/32 restrictor plate. But if you run the new engine, you have to run a 57/64 plate. That's only a 64th of an inch, but it's about 12 horsepower, and it's all about horsepower here at Daytona.
Give me the big plate and the old engine, and we'll win every time here in Daytona, Talladega with that combination, Andy.
And that's what most of the Chevy teams are going to run here at Daytona.
That Petrie wears some nice ties, doesn't he?
Boy, he's snazzy, isn't he? Oh, Tim Brewer's got all that stuff down there in the new Craftsman Tech Garage. We won't see him all year long.
He'll be hiding out till November. All right, not much change in the balance of manufacturers in the field for this race from last year to this. You see the numbers. Just a couple adjusting here and there, but pretty much the same breakdown as we had before. Greg Biffle got a great car for today's race. Shannon Spake, what's he thinking?
Well, Greg Biffle had to buy Matt Kenseth dinner last night because of their qualifying efforts, but he's still starting in the top 10 here today. You said yesterday that you loved your car. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, how confident are you today?
Well, I think that we've got to be 8 or 9. You know, that car's running really good. City Financial Ford Fusion, and the guys did a great job getting it ready. And, you know, just good pit stops today. It's hot and sunny right now. You know, it's been overcast, and
cool and warm, so we just really don't know what the track's going to be like. We get out there in a big group. Thing is, we've only been out there 10, 15 cars at a time, really. So now we're going to get out there with, 30 cars at a time, and we'll see 40, see what this car drives like.
Well, you did tell me yesterday that you thought it was going to be a little bit crazy out there. So what's your strategy?
Well, since I start near the front, my strategy is to try and stay there. We start in outside lane, so hopefully, the high line works pretty well for me. So hopefully we stay up front, most of the pit cycle and see how that car handles.
And Greg Biffle has 3 teammates out there on the track with him today, and that will certainly help in the Daytona draft.
All right, Shannon, thanks. Greg Biffle scheduled to start 6 today. Greg driving a Ford, naturally, for the Roush Fenway team. We've been hearing from guys in Chevrolets, guys in Toyotas. And we saw the manufacturer breakdown in the race just a little while ago. Now, last year, the Toyota teams were rumored to have a horsepower advantage over all the other makes. NASCAR did make some rules adjustments midway through last season. Now, the other day here at the racetrack, we heard Kyle Busch say he thinks the Toyotas are handcuffed a little bit by those different size restrictor plates Andy Petrie was talking about.
Yeah, well, we wanted old-time racing. We got it. Didn't they do this to the Hemis here in the 70s? We're seeing different plates on different motors. And from what I understand now, the RL7 has a good amount of horsepower. They're keeping it on a small plate. The Toyotas last year showed on the chassis dyno they did have good horsepower. This little plate has knocked them down about 12, but that's big here. 12 horsepower is big at a place like Daytona.
Yeah, I agree with that. But one thing that you notice when you come to Daytona, and you hear the guys talk about a lot, this is a super speedway, but handling becomes the issue. So you have to get through the corners. You can make up some of that straightaway speed by driving the car a little harder through the corners. So I think everyone's pretty much on a level playing field. NASCAR does a great job in handling that.
And one of the complications for these teams to try and handle, Rusty, is the aerodynamic package that NASCAR uses on these cars in the interest of keeping speeds contained within a certain window. The strip across the roof, the lip on the back spoiler, the wicker they call it, and that changes things for a crew chief trying to balance that car.
It really does. Now, one thing it does do, it really helps the cars draft really well. You're going to see these guys bumper to bumper throughout the race, and that's going to be the great equalizer. You can qualify in the very back of this field and go right up to the front in a matter of just 10 laps, something like that. I mean, 10 to 15 laps. So look for that to happen. I don't think qualifying is very, very important because of those trips you just mentioned. It really makes those cars draft so good.
We've talked about the cars and the adjustments they'll make. We've talked about some of the manufacturers and the drivers and so on. Now, these pit crews are going to get at it today for the most part for the first time. Yes, some of the Cup pit crews had a chance to go and do some work in the Budweiser shootout and the Gatorade duels on Thursday, but some of these nationwide teams, this is going to be their first live fire exercise, if you will, on the year. So, Mr. Champion Crew Chief, what are you telling you guys?
Well, I'm going to tell you, that is a very good point, Alan, because no matter what, you can practice all you want, but there's nothing like being in that game. So you just got to tell them, you got to make them think it's practice. Okay, guys, just like practice. Give them plenty of time, make sure they're watching that car come down pit road and focus on their job.
And we all know in this sport that getting in and out on pit road is the most important part of the race. Your race car has to be good, but they've got to get you in and out of the pits. It's going to be interesting to see how rusty these guys are.
Yeah, talk about the pit crews, right? Those guys are here at the racetrack from early in the morning till dusk every day. You got to eat, right? There's some good food being cooked up around the haulers in the garage. In fact, anywhere you go in the infield here at Daytona, there's some good food to be found, as Big Brad was happy to discover in our new Taste of the Track.
Now that's important. Everyone at ESPN, as well as the people here in the NASCAR garage, know one thing about me. I love to eat. I have to feed this big body. This year, we're going to be doing a feature on the most important people in all of racing, the people who cook for these race teams. I'm going to be showing you some of the culinary delights that come out of the garage. This week, I'm here with Chris Miko with the America's Incredible Pizza Racing Team driven by Scott Lagacy. And as we know, Chris has the most important job in all of racing, feeding these hungry race people. All right, what you got for us now? I like to eat, so it better be good.
I got 3 pounds chicken in here, just marinated overnight, and it makes it real soft and tender.
I got you.
It's really good, and I got cornbread stuffing over here. Makes a good little treat.
Cornbread stuffing?
That's right.
Man. Oh, man.
Ready to go?
Get a little sample of this.
All right.
What you got here? Oh, yeah, man.
Let's see here.
Give me another one there.
There you go.
Oh, man.
That good?
Great flavor.
It's all in the marinade.
Oh, that chicken is excellent.
Gotta eat your greens now. I'm sure your mama said. Eat your greens. What about some cornbread stuff? Want to try some of that?
You like cornbread? I'm going to tell you what, man.
Glad you like it.
Oh, boy. Caribbean jerk chicken, little stuffing here, nice little cut of green beans. If you're looking for some good eats, you need to come find Chris Miko. This is outstanding. Chris, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. All right. $5.
Oh, look at that. They got some good food out in the
Now,
infield.
where is he at? I'm grabbing my Maalox and I'm on my way, baby.
For the last 12 weeks, our world has idled quietly, and the only sound to fill this historic cathedral of racing, the deafening silence of anticipation. These hallowed grounds bear witness as the pilgrimage begins. Fans flood south. Teams return refreshed. And the drivers start again, hoping that this can be the year. This track of honor and infield of dreams offers the rewards of courage and the spoils of victory through a race much greater than the 300 miles ahead. All scores have been settled, all slates cleaned. The annual full throttle showdown has begun. One man seeks his return to glory, and another gripping with the memory of a record-breaking season lost without a title. NASCAR Nation awakens to a new beginning. This could be the year. This is where it all starts. This is Daytona.
It will be the year for someone. All the promise and potential of a new racing season on display at world-famous Daytona, as 43 drivers get set to go 300 miles for the first checkered flag of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. Today at Daytona, it's all about the draft.
Daytona is such a drafting track where I guess there's an art to it, and the art to drafting is to always know what lane's moving.
You get the momentum forward, and you get propelled forward, and you got to move and dice, and once you get that run, it usually doesn't slow down until you get to the front.
And it seems like the moves that are successful are moves that are made a lap before, and oftentimes are dictated by cars 2 or 3 behind. So, a smart drafter or a smart race car driver on a plate track can see those things coming.
It's more about knowing when to get out of a certain line and when to stay in it and knowing what you're looking for. I think that's where the art part comes into it. That's why some guys are so good at it. Some guys are still learning.
Well, the draft makes for exciting racing, but it can also create the big one. We've seen some spectacular spills in this race, from Casey Atwood's tumble to Jeff Green's backflip in that yellow 10 car a few years ago, to the big multi-car pileups that can claim 10, 15, sometimes as many as 20 cars at one time. The big one, it's on every driver's mind before they start this race. Let's talk with 2 guys who know all about the draft, our champion drivers, Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett. DJ, I want to talk about a term we'll hear a lot from the drivers throughout the day, and from you guys upstairs for that matter, bump drafting. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it can definitely be each if you don't know exactly how to use it. It can be a very useful tool in bump drafting, but you have to know exactly the limit, and who you're bump drafting. Too hard, and you can send the guy spinning anytime in front of a pack of cars. But it can be very useful as you're trying to go from the middle or back of the pack to the front and trying to take the lead. So you have to be just really careful at what you're doing, and most of these guys understand that. But sometimes you get caught up in the moment, and that bump can be a little bit more than what you were anticipating. And Rusty, if you hit a guy in the wrong place on this racetrack, it can cause a big wreck.
DJ, you're exactly right. I mean, if you're drafting with a guy, first of all, you got to trust him. Then the bump draft comes into effect. If that guy bump drafts you and then pulls left or right, he could spin you out in front of the straightaway, which we've seen many times. So you got to be really careful bump drafting and really careful drafting. Now, another thing, I want a partner that I trust. Not a guy just going to help me one time. I'm looking for that cat to help me 2 or 3 times or more during the race. That's a good partner, and that's how you bump draft and draft.
But are you going to help him at all? You said the guy's going to help you. Want him to help you? You don't want to help him?
If that guy helps me, he's going to return the favor. I'm going to help him. He's going to help me. We're going to play game all day long. We're going to work together, buddy.
There you go. That's
Heck
what I like
yeah,
to
man.
Till it comes down to the end of the race. DJ, thanks. We'll talk to you in a couple minutes. In the two tracks where the draft is the thing, Daytona and Talladega, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart sure have shown they can get it done, huh? Pretty good numbers there with the different wins they have. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, no slouches as well. We'll keep an eye on all of those drivers today. Now, Tony Stewart, driving for Rick Hendrick today, has already had an adventurous day on the Sprint Cup Series side. That's the car he'll drive in the Nationwide Series race from the Hendrick team. But in the Sprint Cup practice this morning, not one, but both the cars he's now the co-owner of damaged in this wreck. That's Ryan Newman in the 39.
Man.
Well, I tell you, that is tough. And as we've heard, Ryan Newman, this would be his third race car. And Tony, you don't want it. When you're out drafting, it's tough because when you take your teammate out, it just makes it a miserable day.
Backup cars for both guys. Vince Welch is with Tony now.
Tony joked earlier in the week that being a Cup owner was the most productive diet he could be on. All that stress was causing him to lose weight, and after what happened this morning in practice with you and Ryan Newman, maybe you lost a few extra pounds. What's the ultimate damage? How will it affect you in the Daytona 500?
The bad part is we both had to go to backup cars, so Ryan's on his third, I'm on my second for the week, so not exactly a perfect case scenario by any means, but you know, the thing is, it's showing me how strong a team we really have. I mean, I'm really proud of all the guys on the U.S. Army car and all the guys on the Office Depot Old Spice car. They've done a great job of, they got us back out and they're getting Ryan going again. So I think we're going to be in good shape. It's just not exactly the way we wanted to do it, obviously.
Let's move to the Nationwide Series now. Running for Rick Hendrick. So long you've competed against him, what's it now like to be running for him?
It's fun. Mr. Hendrick's a great guy. He's always been good to us, and really proud to be running for his 80 franchisees with HendrickCars.com today. He's got a great inventory of cars for everybody to look at, and check out the website. It's pretty cool. So if you're shopping for a car of any kind, get on HendrickCars.com today and check it out. We're going to have fun with him.
Tony Stewart. He's the defending race champion, looking for win number 4 in the Daytona Nationwide Series. And let's go to Alan Bestwick.
All right, Vince, thanks. Tony starting 5th today in that 80 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting set to go in the 5 machine, feeling under the weather today. He has asked not to be interviewed before the start of this race. He's going to take the green flag from 24th position. The clock winding down as we close in on the start today at Daytona. The Daytona International Speedway, where the Camping World 300 gets underway momentarily. The opening race of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season for 2009. Crowds continuing to file into the grandstands. Beautiful weather for today. Temperature expected to be in the mid to upper 70s, though there's a 30% chance of showers that gets to us a little bit later on in the afternoon. Time to go trackside now for today's opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Embry-Riddle Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Dr. Tim McNeil of First United Methodist Church of Ormond Beach offers today's invocation.
Let us pray. You are our God and we are your people. We begin this new season with hope, promise, and possibility. Yet we are mindful of those around these garages and around our nation who have been outsourced, downsized, and are unemployed. Give us this day our daily bread, and as we seek to build a new prosperity, may it be built on gratitude instead of greed. Shalom and amen.
Race fans, here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Big Machine recording artists Kate and Casey.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
You know, one thing you miss during the off-season in racing? Those goosebumps you get when they have that opening ceremony every week, and you begin to see those drivers climb aboard and buckle in and know that the green flag is just around the corner. The start at Daytona when we come back. The NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World 300 at Daytona, brought to you by Camping World, the official RV and outdoor retailer of NASCAR. Interstate Batteries, over 200,000 dealers nationwide. Find one at interstatebatteries.com. And Chase, protection matters. Chase what matters. The grid beginning to clear at the Daytona International Speedway. Crew members stationed alongside the cars working their way back to their pit stalls. Those involved in the pre-race ceremonies moving behind the wall. And now just the drivers, their crew chiefs, and a couple of crew members out by the car getting these 43 men strapped aboard their machines. They will go green flag racing for 300 miles in just a few minutes. Let's cover some stories on pit road before they fire them up. Dave Burns, what you got?
Alan, it's been 3 months since these fierce competitors got to actually compete. That's a lot of pent-up motion for these guys to release here at Daytona, the biggest race of the season. No team knows that more than the number 16 fielded by Roush Fenway Racing. Their season ended 3 from the end of the year last year, so they've had even more time to get ready. And this year they're running a full schedule with a shot at the Owners' Championship. Greg Biffle behind the wheel today. They and the rest of these teams are ready to get things started here at Daytona. Shannon?
Dave, winning here at Daytona for a team owner is a huge accomplishment. And when you add the fact that the team owner is also the driver, the stakes are even higher. Now for your pole sitter, Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they are 2 driver-owner teams in this race here today. And oh, by the way, have I mentioned that Harvick or Earnhardt have never driven their car to victory lane, their own car to victory lane? It's Daytona, it's the first race of the season, and you can be guaranteed that these guys are hungry to drive themselves to victory lane. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. This never gets old, does it, this moment?
I'm so excited. Let's go racing, man.
Man, I tell you, it's got me fired up. It really does, Alan. I mean, I'm anticipating the beginning of this race. I know the tensions are very, very high, and all those drivers down there right now. I know the race beginning is going to be something. It really is. These guys want to get past those first 10 laps because right now, that's the nervous part.
And I need a helmet down here because you don't know what it's like here. You don't know what Brad gets swinging around and excited. I mean, it gets wild up here. I am really looking forward to seeing some of these young guys get a shot today. I feel like today's the day that they can show what they've got.
Got some great new names in the field that we'll talk about as the day goes on, but also a lot of experience. You just saw Matt Kenseth. There's Clint Boyer getting strapped into the Richard Childress racing machine. We expect the experience to rise to the top, but you never know how things are going to play out at Daytona. And as Carl Edwards talked about earlier, this is the first race of the championship. Lose points today, they might come back and cost you at the season's final race at Homestead, Miami, November, 10 months from now. The big wreck, it's out there. It always hangs as a possibility. The first 10 laps, especially as the race draws closer to the finish, it's always something. And then, of course, the overriding theme on the day, that big word splashed across the top of that tower, it's Daytona. Someone's got a chance to win a trophy at Daytona today, put their name in this Speedway's record books. Which one of these 43 drivers will it be? And will it be someone winning here for the very first time? Time to go trackside now and get this race started up.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, Regional Vice President of Camping World, Bruce Wright.
On behalf of Camping World, all our associates and vendors, and 8 million RVers, gentlemen, start your engines!
Yeah, 10-4. All right, fire it up when you're ready. Loud and clear. Behind you. So if you're getting in behind somebody coming on 4 on the outside, just make sure you fill his mirror up so he knows he's clear so you guys carry more.
The engines have fired, so let's go upstairs to the 3 men who'll call the action for us from Daytona today. Dr. Jerry Punch with Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie.
Thank you very much, Alan, and great job done there, guys. You know, folks, many of the same names and faces that are the favorites for tomorrow's Daytona 500 are also racing here today. You got Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart, Kenseth and Boyer all starting toward the front. Then, back in row 7, you got Kyle Busch, and way back in 24th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, if you're one of those guys, how do you play it early on?
Well, I don't know what Kyle Busch has in mind for these early laps, but I'll guarantee you I'm going to be watching because this guy is a stand-on-the-gas driver. He's going to be coming up through there and doing all he can, and I know it's going to be exciting watching this.
Yeah, and Dale Jr., we've seen a couple of different things from him here in the past. Sometimes he hangs back a little bit, let things kind of spread out a little bit. I believe today, starting 24th, that he's going to let kind of the tires get worn, a little bit of fuel burn off, and then he's going to start making his way to the front. He won't waste too much time back there.
Nowhere in the NASCAR rulebook does it say that it has to be a rookie that triggers the big one. In fact, all week long in Sprint Cup competition and in last night's truck race, it was the experienced drivers that were triggering him. Guys, what are they thinking?
Well, Doc, sometimes they're not thinking. And really, sometimes it really comes down to just overconfidence and over-aggressiveness. These guys come over from the Cup Series, and they think they can get away with a little bit more than some of the rookies can. And sometimes, and most times they do, but sometimes they don't. And that's what happens in these wrecks. These drivers are just getting a little bit too aggressive on the racetrack.
Yeah, no, you know, it's easy for us to stand up here and talk about all of that, but from down in that driver's seat, things look a whole lot different at times. So I'm going to be on the driver's side just a little bit here and say, you know, these cars, they're trying to trim them out as much as they possibly can and get the cars to where they really don't drive that good because they want that speed. And so sometimes that helps trigger that, but they can be a little too over-aggressive at the beginning in particular. They have to be careful. They want to be around for the end. That's the only way that you can see that checkered flag.
We do know, though, it can get wild in a hurry here at Daytona. Now, let's get an update from the pits from the newest member of our family, Vince Welch.
Thank you very much, Doc. You know, with my own son and father here enjoying the activities this weekend, it makes me think about the family tradition of Daytona. And we've got a couple of good family stories in the field. The Green brothers, David, Mark, and Jeff, all three in the race for the first time in a nationwide event since August of 2005. And we've got, well, the Wallaces. We've got, of course, Mike Wallace and Rusty Wallace and Stephen Wallace. And, of course, Stephen's dad, Rusty, is part of our ESPN family. Family tradition runs strong in the cars, in the pits, and in the stands, and often in victory lane. And we'll be telling some of those stories, I'm sure, over the course of the next 20 laps. Jamie?
Well, Vince, we're going to have some help here on pit road during pit stops. John Bousseau is here with us. He is the front tire carrier for the 24 of Eric McClure. So, John, you have some other duties, some other responsibilities during pit stops and after. What are you going to be doing today?
Well, you know, a lot of people think that when we come back over the wall, we get a Coca-Cola, sit on tire, and watch Eric McClure on TV, which is partially true. The thing is, though, we have to get these tires to the wall. We have to get the old tires glued up, cleaned up, just in case we have to put them back on. We also have to weigh our fuel cans for fuel mileage, and we also have to check the tire wear on the tires we took off. But then, after we get all that work done, cool off, with these fire suits on, we watch TV.
Well, Doc, it's definitely going to be adrenaline-packed. He has a camera right here we're going to be watching and a microphone here, so it's going to be exciting. We're going to watch John as the race progresses.
Jamie, the pressure is indeed building on those guys down in the pits. They know they can win it or lose it for their team. When we come back, we'll set the starting grid and wave the green flag from Daytona. Welcome back to the Camping World 300 here at Daytona. We are just moments away from the start. And what a star-studded field we have for you today. We take a look at our starting grid. It is led by two-time series champion and pole sitter Kevin Harvick. Folks, 5 of the top 6 starters on that grid have won a major NASCAR championship, including Tony Stewart, the 2-time Cup champion, back in 5th position. While you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit again with our in-race reporter, Brad Keselowski, who, by the way, was voted the series' most popular driver for 2008.
Brad, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Dale. Got you loud and clear.
All right, Brad, looks like the sun's come out today. We're going to have a pretty slick racetrack. Is there one particular spot of this racetrack that concerns you more than another?
Without a doubt, the entry of turn 3, saw it in the Cup car where it got real loose as that banking transitions real fast. And it looks like we're going to have a tailwind going into turn 3, so I'd expect our corner entry speed to pick up to make that situation worse.
All right, Brad, our second question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and Chris from Arlington, Tennessee asked, how do you choose which lane to draft in during a restrictor plate race? Are you looking for drafting partners, or is it solely how your car is handling?
I'm looking to put my GoDaddy.com Chevrolet behind the fastest car I can find and push them, and then hopefully get back by them. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. So hopefully I've got a car strong enough to do that. I know the guys on the Junior Motorsports team have worked real hard on that, and I appreciate it. We're ready to put on a good show for them fans so they can go watch.
All right, are you looking to move straight forward right here from the very beginning?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, every time I try to play conservative, it seems like I get in trouble. So I'm going to be aggressive and it's going to be a good show. I can guarantee you that.
All right, Brad, have a great day. We'll talk to you later on. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Tony Uri Sr.
Hey, Pops, it's Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Hey, Tony, you know, my whole career I've spent really as a crew chief in the Cup Series, but it takes a little different calls down on pit road to win these Nationwide Series races. They're shorter. What is it that you've learned that you've been able to win so many of those things from pit road?
Well, probably the biggest thing in the Nationwide garage is you gotta make your adjustments a little faster, a little bigger. Seems like in the Cup side you can kind of tune on the car a little bit at a time and get it tuned in, but here you got maybe once or twice to get that car tuned in, so your adjustments have got to be a little bigger, and just hope you don't go too far.
Hey, Tony, what is the one thing that you're going to focus on today to get your car to where you need to be at the end of the race?
Well, we just got to get it where we can run it wide open all day. That was what happened to us here in July. We got loose getting in the corner and was having to get off the throttle a little bit. Felt like we had a really fast car. Was kind of disappointed we didn't win the race. So hopefully we got that problem fixed and we keep it running wide open all day.
Okay, Tony, thanks for talking to us and good luck today.
Thank y'all.
Folks, that guy right there knows what it takes to win here at Daytona. Tony Uri Sr. has called the shots for all 7 of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s victories and 3 of the 5 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. So 10 times he's been on the pit box when the cars come down to take the checkered flag to win here at Daytona.
Kind of sounded like he wasn't finished doing that either. Pretty focused.
There is Tony Stewart in the NASCAR Nationwide Series driving for Rick Hendrick today, but it has already been an eventful day for Tony in the team he owns in Sprint Cup and his teammate Ryan Newman.
Yeah, this is a tough deal right here. You see Ryan Newman in a 39 car, loses what looks to be a right rear tire right in front of his boss, Tony Stewart. Tony gets into him, they both tear their cars up and had to go to backups.
And that's a tough way. They've had a tough Speedways. Even though Tony had a great run in his 150 qualifier the other day, Ryan unfortunately was wrecked in that race, and so going to test them early here to see just how much depth they have at that race team.
Just hope he can put all that behind him here now, and he's got a good shot with this car. They qualified better than they expected for this race.
And probably the best thing for him to do is be able to get in this race car and focus on something else and not worry about all of this happened over there, because tomorrow's another day for that.
See Kevin Harvick on the pole. This is the second pole for the ECR engines, Earnhardt Childress engines. They're on the pole for the Cup Series, for the 500 and this race.
This is a 300-mile race, 120 laps. Pit road speed 55 miles per hour. The pit window, remember, they are limited in sets of tires, but they may not go that long here unless they stay completely green.
Well, 45 to 50 laps is a fuel run, but they'll want tires a lot sooner than that.
Let's listen in to our defending series champion just moments ago.
All right, guys, this is it. A lot of hard work this winter. I think you guys it showed the last couple of days. I'm telling you, it's really an honor to be a part of something like this. And for buddy, we'll race this thing all day long. I think we got something we can do our quiz. I've talked to guys that say track bar air pressure would be 2 biggest things we'll work on today. Kyle, keep him out of trouble. Let's get him up front.
He is raring and ready to go. He has never won at Daytona. Folks, for over 6 decades, fans have been making the annual pilgrimage here to Daytona to watch the current and future stars of NASCAR compete on the high banks. They know, as you do, these guys are hungry. They haven't raced for 2.5 months. They haven't tested for 2.5 months. So reach over one more time, hug your Valentine, and sit back, relax, and enjoy as NASCAR racing about to get underway. How sweet it is on Valentine's Day at Daytona. The 2009 season begins for the Nationwide cars. Kevin Harvick did not win a single race in Cup or Nationwide in 2008. Hopes to change that today. He already changed it with that pole running winning run. But they are 2 by 2 here down the back straightaway in lap 1.
Yeah, the only thing we're missing here is the pace car leading around. They're staying right there.
Nobody's made a move yet. They're still 2 by 2 just the way they qualified. I think maybe they want to just get a lap or 2 under their belts here before they start dicing it up. But they are still side by side all the way back through the field.
Kenseth leading the high line. Harvick on the inside. Lap 1 at Daytona. It was Kenseth, and now here comes Harvick surging back.
Harvick led that first lap, just barely, though.
Now Kenseth gets a big push from Jason Leffler.
That Jason Leffler car is one that had trouble in practice on Thursday. He backed it into the wall in turn 3. They were able to repair the car, qualified right up front. Now he's got it sitting in second place.
That's the one thing I'm going to be watching on this 38 car, because he lost that car by himself in practice. And after they run a few laps, I'm going to be watching this car to see how well it's handling. Looks good so far.
An entirely new rear section on this car. Hard to believe it would go out and still qualify in the top 5, much less run this well here early on.
Well, you can see why the team wanted to get it back together here. It is very competitive. Now you see some guys dicing up in the back of the pack while they get single file at the front.
Yeah, they kind of stacked up back there a little bit. Guys were pretty alert right there. Something big could have happened.
3 wide through the tri-oval, and they are 2 wide for second place, and Harvick goes back by. Here comes Bowyer in the 29 car, and that is Tony Stewart in the 80.
These guys are being pretty patient, and they can be up front here early on. You can see right behind Tony Stewart, he's getting a push now from Carl Edwards.
Look at Kyle Busch back there. He's 3 wide middle. He's looking for a hole.
He's just wanting to get to the front somehow.
I think the over and under was...
Whoa! Well, that's a nice save there.
That's the 81 car of DJ Kennington. He was the fastest Dodge. And
he's got a tiger by the tail right now with that 18 car. Might learn something from Kyle Busch right here. Maybe what not to do.
It was pretty impressive. He hung on to that and is still able to make a nice run on the outside of Kyle Busch.
Saw a little bump draft from Stephen Wallace there a moment ago as Kyle Busch goes by. Stephen gave Brad Keselowski a little bit of a bump.
Now you can see how that momentum, he's got a hold running. You see how he's sucking right up to the back end of that 27 car, Jason Keller. You see it, DJ Kennington way up high right here, and he has to put a little wheel in it.
Yeah.
And man, he's losing a little rear grip.
Yeah, Michael Annette actually didn't do anything wrong. He was just holding his line, and 81 got a little bit sideways, a little bit loose.
2 outside there, 2 outside, 2 outside, 2 outside still. Still 2 outside there, go low, stay low there. About hit outside there, stay low. Still 3 wide there, still 3 wide. Still 3 wide.
You really hate to hear that all day long. You know, here we are 4 laps in, and you're still 3 wide.
The fans love it. I know the drivers, it really keeps them on edge all day long to have to run in these big packs.
It does, but you know, if you can make it through the day in one of these races, you look back and think about how much fun that really was.
Kyle Busch began the day back in 13th position. He is now in the top 10 and setting sail toward the front. There is Busch, the Interstate Battery Chevy. You see he had drafting help from Keselowski, who's now pulled back up in the outside lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr., we told you he was way back in 24th position at the start. So, DJ, like you said, he's being patient, but he's picking them off one by one.
Yeah, he's looking just take a little bit of time.
Scott Wimmer in this 40 started dead last, and he's right there with Junior. Nice run early for Scott. There's a little bump drafting from Justin Allgaier.
Yeah.
He's learned how to do this.
Quickly, isn't he?
Allgaier had to go to the back of the field after missing the driver's meeting. He is a rookie. First year that Roger Penske has ever run the full series in the NASCAR Nationwide cars. Up front, the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, the former Cup Series champion, is the leader. It is Kenseth, Harvick, Bowyer, Stewart, and the youngster Joey Logano in the top 5. High above the battle for the lead, aerial coverage here at Daytona brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. A moment ago, these 4 cars had just pulled away. Kenseth, Harvick, Bowyer, and Stewart, but now 5th, 6th, and 7th have run them down. Joey Logano is there, Michael Waltrip, and guess who? Kyle Busch all the way to 7th spot.
Just like Andy predicted, he didn't waste any time getting up there.
They seem to be content to run in that single file line until this group caught them. Now they're starting to race a little side by side. You see Michael Waltrip in that 99 car. See this second pack being led by David Reagan. And Carl Edwards. Carl slipped back just a little bit here in the early laps. He's got his teammates now, all lined up, 3 of them together.
I'm surprised they got strung out in the single file a little quicker than what we anticipated. I think we were looking at more along the 15, 20 lap part before these guys would start to move out and maybe start losing some handling. And looks like maybe Carl Edwards has lost some of his handle. Dave?
That's exactly right, Dale. They have lost it in the tight sense. His car, when he goes into the turns, wants to push toward the wall. Dan Stillman, his new crew chief, told him that should come back to you a little bit when the tires wear down. It gets a little skatey out there. But for now, Carl has a car that just won't turn the way he wants it to.
Well, you see a lot of cars jumping around. I just saw Greg Biffle's car just jump straight up off the bottom right there behind Carl Edwards.
Kyle Busch now down on the very bottom of the racetrack. And again, he has come from his starting spot back in 13th all the way to be shown in 6th position now. Jamie.
Kyle Busch sounds like a new man. He's sitting back and watching his competition. This is what he said on the radio.
Dude, these guys are all working way too hard and making themselves look stupid. I hear you, dude, but I don't think they plan on being around too long. Just get out of the way. Everybody just get out of the way. I'm coming. It's over.
And right after he said, get out of the way, I'm coming, he said, man, this thing is riding like a Lexus. So guys, watch out. He's looking to join that front draft group.
I usually don't have to work that hard to make myself look stupid.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Kyle Busch, who won 10 races a year ago, tying the all-time single season record that Sam Ard had set, going for the championship this year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He and Carl Edwards running double duty, trying to win both titles.
Well, he had a 2.5-month layoff, but he didn't lose any confidence over that time. And we really didn't expect him to and don't want him to, because that's what makes Kyle Busch pretty special. And looks like he's got that car right where he wants it. And I think what he's talking about is a lot of these guys are really fighting the cars like Andy was just talking about, and he's sitting there riding.
So Andy and Tim Brewer in our NASCAR Countdown show, they showed you that actually the Toyotas have a smaller restrictor plate, so which you equated to be what, down about 12 horsepower?
Well, if you just went plate to plate, it's about 12 horsepower. When you start talking about the new engine versus the old engine with the new plate and the old plate, I mean, it's NASCAR's way to even out this competition. And that NASCAR will tell you it's pretty close, and I'm sure it is, but some of the guys think that it might be a little bit of a penalty to have to run that smaller plate.
Kevin Harvick on the pole, settling into second spot right now. Dave.
And he's been talking about what moves he might make if they want to make an attempt on Matt Kenseth this early, just to see what his car will do. He was told that the 29 car of Clint Boyer would go with him if he wanted to try a move to the high side. And a lot of folks think that last week's win in the Budweiser shootout in the Cup Series was a result of Kevin Harvick going high off of turn 2. Look for them to maybe test that during this first run.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more cars running right up next to him. Whoa, look at Kevin Harvick's car get out of shape. He's been wobbling the last few laps.
You know, he said that here in July, he thought he did have a very fast car, but they just didn't handle very good, and they thought they had a lot of that taken care of. But I think they were one of the teams that didn't practice in that second practice session, and that might hurt these guys. It might come back and they wish they'd spent a little bit more time on the racetrack.
Harvick's car just an abrupt twitch all of a sudden, and that's going to make your heart skip a beat there in the race car.
Well, we're at the point right now to where the tires are going to start going away just a little bit.
Yeah, just ask Kevin Harvick.
How about some of our biggest movers? Good run early on for Brendan Gaughan, rookie in that 62 car, up 21 spots, as is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5.
Looks like Brendan Gaughan picked the right guy to run with.
There's Junior in the 5 car. Joe Nemechek behind him, and clear sailing up in the Dale Jr. lane.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that we haven't seen more cars right up here in this group, because when the tires go away, it does seem like it's a little easier to get around the racetrack up high than it is to try to hold that car on the bottom.
Draft really working well. You see him pull right up behind the 27 car of Jason Kelly.
Yeah, but you did see him have to breathe it just a little bit on entrance to the corner, and then he was back wide open. That tells me his car might be a little bit to the free side. Jamie?
Yeah, he is a bit loose right now, DJ. So they're just reminding Dale Jr. we're on board with him right now. Reminding him just to be patient, hang back, and of course, if you're going to tell anybody to be patient at Daytona, Dale Jr. is the man. He's won here 5 times. So his car slowly coming around, but started off a little loose.
Well, where he was having to lift there was down into turn 3, and they're actually have a tailwind down the back straightaway, so that's going to carry a little bit more speed in there, and that's the one place that they'll have to be a little bit more careful.
Michael Annette's slowing down here on the racetrack.
Right rear.
Looks like he's got a right rear down, is what he
Yeah,
said.
I thought the right rear come off, to be honest with you.
He was the highest qualifying rookie, and up front, the champ trying to take over at Daytona, and Clint Boyer will slide by. Can Tony Stewart go by Matt Kenseth? Yeah, he will make it work for a second spot.
It's like you said, Dale, I believe these tires are going away a little bit, and Matt Kenseth had to get out of the throttle, and Clint Boyer just took advantage of that and just took the lead.
Shannon?
Tony Stewart's race strategy was to get up front as soon as he can. You see him making that move right now, looking for his third win here at Daytona International Speedway. Right now, the car is just a little bit tight on right through the centers, and he's getting free on exit and entry, but he's got Lance McGrew up there. He's got Rick Hendrick looking on, and Tony Stewart wants to get to victory lane today.
Indeed he does, Shannon. And the car he drove to victory a year ago is just 2 cars behind him. That 20 car, the same car that Stewart won with here and at Talladega, being driven by an 18-year-old Joey Logano, who's about to be under attack by Kyle Busch for position.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had lost those guys a little bit whenever he had to pass Michael Waltrip, and they got side by side for just a minute, but he's caught this front group. Probably won't be long till we'll see him towards the front.
18 of 120 laps are in the books. It is Clint Boyer, the 2008 NASCAR Nationwide champion, as our leader. Tony Stewart has just become the 4th different car to lead the Camping World 300 at Daytona, but he will give it back away to the 29 of Clint Boyer, and here comes Kyle Busch now all the way to 2nd spot.
Looks like every lead change we've had is because the leader gets loose and just can't hold it wide open. And we just saw that with Stewart. Stewart's car looked great until he got to the front, and then you saw that thing jump around after he led a few laps. The only one we haven't seen out of shape is Kyle Busch. He's the first one you think would be out of shape.
Yeah, but his car looks the best of all of these cars that we've seen. It'll be interesting to see as he gets some clean air, but he has been in that position before, and it didn't seem that it affected him that much. But he gets to the very front where he's got all of that downforce on the front end. You might see a different story, but he's been awfully good to this point.
Donnie Neuenberger in the pits, getting some work done on the Jimmy Means car. By the way, Michael Annette had been on and off pit road after a change of that tire going down. Did a great job to save that car, but he lost a lap. Is being shown in 41st position.
One thing that happens, you see these leaders out here, they get that air right on the front of the car, and it makes the car stick really good in the front, but it kind of overheats the rear tires, and that's why I think you're seeing the leader can stay out there for a few laps, but then finally he has to kind of give it up and get back in the pack a little bit, kind of cool those rear tires.
Let's update our leader, Vince.
Well, that leader is the 29 car of Clint Boyer, and he just came over the radio and said, my car is really, really loose. He's sharing the ride this year with that man you see on the left-hand side of the screen, Jeff Burton, and also Stephen Light getting in the car for some races this season. Burton, very interesting, went around to each of the pit crew members when he came into the box today and shook each of their hands. This is a team that has its sights set on the Owners' Championship. Remember, Clint Boyer won the Drivers' Championship last year, not going to go the full season this time around, but they have their sights set on getting the owner's ring in 2009. Boyer looking forward to that pit stop, by the way, to tighten this thing up.
They have certainly had their hands full. It looks like he's pretty settled now, but the cars are just bouncing back and forth, DJ.
Yeah, these guys are on, they don't have bump stops to ride on, so they're on real springs basically here. And whenever you're doing that, and they have basically a spring rule is what they can do up there, so it causes the car to move around, and this is a very, very rough racetrack, and so it just makes it difficult.
Hey, look who's sneaking up in the picture here. Brad Keselowski, our in-race reporter.
He told us he's going to be really good.
Started 15th, he's up to 7th.
He moved up a couple of spots in the first 3 or 4 laps and then dropped about 6 positions and is now beginning to run him down.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as a driver, when you come to Daytona, you know and you anticipate you're going to be 2 and 3 wide all the time. When things get strung out like this kind of early, you can almost take a breath and relax a little bit. Even though your car might not be perfect, you're able to relax because you're not in that hornet's nest all the time.
Well, the reason they're getting strung out is because the cars are sliding everywhere, so I don't know how relaxed they are behind the wheel, but it does take that to where you don't have to watch each corner and out your mirror and 3 wide and all that stuff. What's going on with the 88 car down there, Doug?
Well, while he's been making some progress toward the front, he hasn't really gotten what he really needs. He was told by his spotter, hey, got so-and-so and so-and-so back behind you in your mirror. And Brad said, said, well, tell him to get up here. Tell him to get up here and push. That's what he thinks he needs most for his race car right now. Someone behind him to help push him toward the front.
What's the old Beatles song? I get by with a little help from my friends. Needing some help here in the draft. It looks like these cars here, even though we have restrictor plates, have some throttle response to be able to make some moves.
That's the intent of this rule that they've got with these fins you see on the roof and the big spoiler with the lip on the back, is to add, you know, a lot of drag to the car, and that way they can open up that restrictor plate, and it does give them some more throttle, it's more power. So it does kind of act like, especially when the tires get hot and slick, that it's more of a race, that's like a downforce race.
Yeah, and it really benefits the drivers, especially at this racetrack, that do have a better handling race car, that aren't abusing the tires. And when these cars that we see moving forward, they're a lot better. We have caution on the track now for some debris.
Somewhere.
We got Dale Jr. now moving up into the top 10.
All the way from 24th starting position.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what we thought from him. As things got strung out, then he would start passing people, and he fell back 3 or 4 spots there at the beginning, and then just started making his way forward.
Okay, so much for that relaxing now. We're going to get 4 tires on these cars, and they're going to be 3 and 4 wide here for a while after this next restart.
Now remember, these pit crews have not been to the racetrack either for 2.5 months. A lot of these guys are maybe a bit rusty, so this could be interesting here when they come on the pit road for the first time of the year.
Well, one thing they haven't done is tested over the offseason, but I'll guarantee you that the pit crews have been practicing a lot at their shops, and they're ready to go right here. They can't wait to get over there.
The Aaron's Lucky Dog is the 84 car, Mike Harmon. He was the first car a lap down, and under this caution, he will be able to go and get his lap back. Mike out of Birmingport, Alabama.
These guys that were struggling with their handling are going to be able to come in, make some adjustments, see if they can get the ones that were really loose. Probably want to tighten up a little bit. But I thought it was very interesting what Tony Uri Sr. said about making adjustments with the 300-mile race versus a Cup race, 500-mile end. You have to go at a bigger step and take a bigger stab at it.
You get fewer opportunities to get on pit road and make those adjustments in these races because they're shorter, and you have a limited. Well, we got a little smoke coming out of one of these cars. Like you might lock the brakes. But and there's another one. What's going on back there? But you just get fewer opportunities to do that, and that's why I think it's really key that some of these guys, these crew chiefs, know how to run a race, a shorter race, versus some of the Cup crew chiefs that are used to longer ones.
If we just joined our coverage, this is the first caution flag of the day coming out on lap 26. Debris on the backstretch, and there are the safety crews over to pick up some pieces of metal that came off one of the cars. We have had 4 leaders, 4 different lead changes. Matt Kenseth has led the most laps, 15. Boyer led 10. Harvick and Stewart a lap each.
These guys on pit road, like the driver's heart was beating when this race got ready to start. How about that?
Oh yeah, you get up on that wall now. You're looking right here, and you see your car coming down. If you're on Clint Boyer's crew, you're seeing your car coming down through there, saying, "Okay," and it's a long way down there. Like you say, that heart beats racing. Coming down to you, Shannon.
Yeah, Tony Stewart pulls his car in for his first pit stop with Hendrick Motorsports. Says he needs to be tighter in order to lead this race. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and put a little bit of wedge in the left rear. Vin.
In the 29, Clint Boyer missed his marks, went over the line. His team had to back him up. He's talking about the car being very loose. They made a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment out of the right rear. Jamie?
Kyle Busch, that 18th, started 13th, worked his way up to 2nd. He said he was just losing a little bit of rear grip. They're going to add air pressure in the front. He's down and away. Dave?
At the end of the run, Kevin Harvick said the car's so loose I can hardly hang on to it. We'll need a fairly big adjustment. That was in the form of 4 tires, air pressure adjustment, and 2 rounds down on the track bar as they get out of shape leaving pit road.
Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth now. He looks like Brad Keselowski got involved in that just a little bit.
Dale Jr. and Kenseth out in the grass.
Destroyed, leaving the pits.
That was Matt Kenseth saying they got destroyed.
Yeah, I saw Brad Keselowski. He actually had to back up. He'd gotten boxed in. He had to back up, and then whenever he accelerated out of his pit, the 5 and the 17 both were right there.
See the 5 leaving the pits. 88 comes out and forces the 17 at Kenseth way out in the grass.
You can see them all trying to get back in line right here. And then he got Keselowski forced again down to the bottom. I have to say that's a mistake on Keselowski's part. He just took too much real estate coming out of his pit stall and really took those guys by surprise.
And here's the bad part. He almost got the boss, the man who owns his car. Might have made him a little mad, too. Back with the restart at Daytona in just a moment.
Hey, now here we go.
Still under caution here at Daytona. Some anxious moments in the pits or leaving pit road. Let's visit with our in-race reporter, Brad Kozlowski.
Brad, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Dale.
Hey, man, it looks like your car's really good on the racetrack, but things got kind of exciting there on pit road.
Yeah, just part of Daytona. The pit road speed here is so fast. The closure rate when you're pulling out of your stall. I just pulled out in front of Dale there. Certainly didn't mean to do that. Hopefully everything's all right there.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good race.
Thank you.
This is what Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw as he comes out. He's doing it right here. He pulls out and he leaves a lane, but Keselowski needed 2 lanes.
Outside.
You know, he had a lot of wheel because he had to back up to start with and then pull out, and he had a lot of wheel in it and trying to get out, and he just, sometimes it's hard when you're in there to get that thing turned back to the left. And but that couldn't have been any worse car to be to your outside that you're running out in the grass than your owner.
Junior ran him back down in the grass there. I guess maybe he forgot that was his car.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had to come back in on the pit road and had to beat out that right side, the right door and right quarter panel. He is now being shown this 5 car back in 34th position.
He's got a good drafting partner back there with Matt Kenseth, who's back there with him also.
Kevin Harvick is the leader. Now, the leader when the caution came out was the 29 car. Clint Boy, you heard us talk about he slid through his pits and had to back up. That cost him a lot of time on pit road. He will restart back in 10th spot.
Kevin Harvick back at the point where he started this race from the pole.
All these drivers complaining about their cars being so loose. Tony Stewart wanted his tightened up so he could lead. He said, if I get it a little tighter, I can lead this thing and stay out there. We're about to find out. Single file up front. Harvick, Stewart, Kyle Busch, Waltrip, and Biffle, the top 5. This is Brad Keselowski we're riding along with, looking at the back of Greg Biffle. Update Matt Kenseth. Vince?
Well, Matt Kenseth, when he came in, of course, after that contact with the 5 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., did damage on the left front. And when he came into pit, they had too many men over the wall to correct that left front issue. So Matt Kenseth had to go to the tail end of the longest line.
17 car being shown now back in 35th position. Tony Stewart, for the 2nd time today, has taken his Chevy to the front.
Yeah, and here's Michael Waltrip. He's wanting to get his Toyota to the point.
Michael Waltrip did not run a single race in this series a year ago. He plans to change that here in 2009. Wouldn't mind, by the way, starting out the year with a nice W here at Daytona.
This is a good opportunity to gain some spots while the tires are good, because once the tires get worn a little bit, you can't make as many spots quickly as you're seeing right here.
Here on the right side of your screen is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5, Matt Kenseth in the 17. They're trying to get hooked up together to run this front pack down. They're quite a ways back, but with this package, you're really never in danger of losing the draft unless your car is just not good at all. And you can see Junior and Matt making their way towards the front.
It doesn't look like that damage has hurt their cars any. They're still able to go pretty good.
They are about 5 seconds. Well, they were 5.2 seconds behind the leaders. They are now 4.6 seconds back, so they're closing in.
Yeah, and these guys running side by side up there is only going to help them get up there quickly, as long as they don't encounter any problems with these guys they're trying to go past.
See Michael Waltrip down on the bottom. He's one of the best drafters I've ever seen, and I think he's going to have a good shot at this thing when it comes right down to it.
Yeah, he just doesn't have much lined up on the bottom with him. Harvick hasn't been able to get up to his bumper and really push him, and you see Keselowski right behind him. Jamie?
Michael Waltrip, guys, he hasn't been in a nationwide race since 2006, so he decided to run his own equipment and see what they had. Jerry Baxter, his crew chief, said they were pleasantly surprised, had no idea they were going to have this much speed in this car. Michael right now hanging tough. He started 11th, guys, running in the front pack.
Jamie, they thought they would be in trouble because they had a car they ran last year, this car, but they built a brand new car all winter long, took it to the wind tunnel a couple weeks ago, and Jerry Baxter said it was terrible. So we decided we're going to just bring the car from last year, and guess what? Last year's car is pretty good.
I've seen it go like that for years and it get worse. You build those new cars, you just know they're going to be better, and when you take them to the wind tunnel, they're not. It just kind of kills you.
Side-by-side action up front. Greg Biffle says, let me be listed as a leader today.
Yeah, he was up in that high line kind of pushing things along there, and all of a sudden dove to the inside just to get to the front. Like he might lead this lap. He's got Clint Boyer, who had a problem on his pit stop, coming back right in behind him to take over the second spot.
So the Biff becomes the 5th different leader at Daytona. And Tony Stewart trying to get some drafting help up high from Kyle Busch, his former teammate at Joe Gibbs Racing, if he can come back by.
Yeah, Greg wasn't extremely happy with his car in drafting practice. They obviously ran a fast lap and qualified up front, but now it looks like they've made some adjustments and maybe his car will be better. It'll be interesting to see as we move through 15, 20 laps if his car still handles this well.
You see that 10 car in that middle of that group, that's David Rudeman. Haven't mentioned his name yet, but he's getting his car right here in the mix. He's right in front of our in-race reporter right here, Brad Keselowski.
See the 07 champion, Carl Edwards, there in the 60 car. Edwards now is back up in the top 10 at 9th position. Let's update the 10 car. Rudeman, Shannon.
Doc, David Rudeman was just a tick tight on that last run, so they did make a wedge adjustment. But get this, I spoke with his crew chief, Todd Losey. They told me that they did not make one change to that car in any of the practice sessions. That car is exactly the way that it raced here with Denny Hamlin last time we were here at Daytona. Been a pretty uneventful weekend for that team, but they're looking for an eventful race here today.
David Rudeman will run about half a season in that 10 car and run some for Michael Waltrip. Single file again up front as Tony Stewart in the 80 car. First time he has ever driven, he said, for Rick Hendrick. He has won this race 3 times, twice driving for Kevin and Delana Harvick. Last year he was driving the Joe Gibbs car.
See this lead draft going by right here. Look there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. They've run them down.
Nice. 2 guys I see in there too that probably makes Rusty Wallace pretty happy are his son Steven and Brendan Gaughan in the 62 car. They're hanging right in there up in the 16th or 15th and 18th spots right now, or 15th and 16th now.
That could change any second right here.
Well, look at that. They were 3 wide a moment ago. And Joey Logano quietly just hanging right there in the top 5. He finished 2nd in the ARCA race to begin Speed Weeks, has been awfully good in the Cup car. Remember, he was one of the feel-good stories of 2008, getting that first win at 18 years, 21 days old at Kentucky.
Already a third of the way through today's NASCAR Nationwide Series event at Daytona International Speedway, and as soon as the checkered flag flies and the victory lane interviews are over, Sports Center at Daytona presented by Wrangler, a preview of the Daytona 500, and then our NASCAR Now 500 pre-race show tomorrow morning, our Monday Roundtable 500 wrap-up Monday night, and then it's on to California. The Nationwide Series presented by GoDaddy.com next Saturday at 7 Eastern Time, and the NHRA Arizona Nationals Finals next Sunday at 7 Eastern, all on ESPN2. Alan Bestwick, Rusty Wallace, Brad Daugherty, Ray Evernham in the ESPN pit studio, a third of the way through. What are you seeing?
Well, right now I see a lot of cars slipping and sliding out there. They're really working hard to try to find their handle. A couple more pit stops will probably get these babies right. But you got some haves and some have-nots out there. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely, but I'm really impressed with the composure on the racetrack. You don't see anybody doing anything outrageous or over their heads. Everyone's trying to race in their spot, keep their race car clean, and keep it under control as best they can.
Yeah, there's composure on the racetrack, and they're slipping and sliding on the racetrack, but we got slipping and sliding on pit road. Good cars slide through their pits, and we had 3 good cars get together on pit road to go to the back of the field.
One caution so far in the race is in. 8 different lead changes among 5 drivers. Guys that have been out front: Kenseth, Boyer, Stewart, Harvick, and Biffle. It is Stewart who is showing the way at this point.
We just joined our coverage. Matt Kenseth and the 5-car Dale Earnhardt. Whoa, Dale Earnhart Jr. Had to come on pit road again after a pit stop and a little bit of a shunt. They restarted in 37th and 38th, and folks, they are now being shown in 13th and 14th positions. 17 and a 5.
See Junior working that high line, but he's got his hands full there. He's driving that car hard. We saw him sliding off the corner. Right there, you see him. He's working that wheel.
Mike Bliss in the 1 car. Another one of the full-time competitors here for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Felt pretty good about his chances to get maybe a top 5 finish. Tony Stewart is the leader now. Kyle Busch is running in second spot. He has yet to lead a lap today. Let's update what's going on with Kyle. Jamie?
Well, on the track right now, things look good, but if you hear his voice, Kyle Busch's confidence is wavering.
I'm certainly not going to win under the hood. This thing sucks, man. I can't drive with this. I can't keep up with them. Yeah, we'll get a long run, I hope.
Well, there's been a lot of talk this week about the Toyotas having that smaller restrictor plate. That could be leading to the problem, but with more on that, let's go to Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim?
Thanks, Jamie. Folks, the carburetor, when you lift it off, the restrictor plate sits right beneath it. You see this hole right here? That's it, so the throttle shaft will actually open up. But beneath that, that's where the restrictor plate sets. And when you've got the Toyota engine or the new R07 engine, you know, you've got a 57/64 restrictor plate. Well, if you run the old engine, you've got a 29/32. That's about a 1/16 of an inch. But like Andy and I said in the pre-race show, it's about 12 horsepower. 12 horsepower here in Daytona and Talladega. It's pretty hard to overcome.
It is like that, you know, he thinks that's holding him back, but he is second right here, and he's been able to drive to the front. I think he's still going to have a shot to win this thing.
Yeah, but he's going to have to probably change his strategy a little bit. He likes to get out front and lead, and what's going to happen is he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to have to keep himself in that position right there, right now, till the end of the race, and then hope that he can get a push and try to make it on the last lap to where those guys can't get back to him. Been in that situation before, and you just have to change your strategy.
Kyle Busch is second in a Toyota, which is what we're talking about. All the Toyotas have that same plate. And by the way, 4 of the top 6 cars are Toyotas. So go figure. The top forward is actually Greg Biffle back in 9th spot. David Reagan is 10th. And what about our former series champion? The 60 car of Carl Edwards. Dave.
Doc, he was scored 12th at the line last time, restarted 9th. So what about that first pit stop and Dan Stillman, his new crew chief? You think he took a big swing at that race car the first time he had a chance to adjust on it? Not really. He took just a little conservative adjustment. Carl said more of the same next time, and I think we'll have a car that can contend with these guys. Still just a little bit tight, maybe a spring rubber to get the rear end of the car up in the air. But Stillman, his first call, just a bit conservative. What would you have done, Andy?
Well, Dave, I think we heard from Tony Uri Sr. about how you have to run these races. You don't have that many opportunities, and they need to make bigger adjustments because, like you see right there, the 60 car made an adjustment, but it wasn't quite enough. It's going to take another one to get it better. And so I think that's the key to winning these shorter races. You've got to make bigger adjustments.
And I think when you're going from that side, this was always my thoughts anyway, when you're going from that tighter side, you can make a little bit bigger adjustment to try to free the car up. If your car is loose, if you try to do too big of an adjustment to make it tighter and you get it way too tight, then you just kill the momentum through the center of the corner and on the exit.
I think we saw at Kansas last year, if you get Carl Edwards close, he will use every ounce the car has as the laps click away.
And let's don't forget, Carl Edwards has a new crew chief in Dan Stillman, and they're still trying to get to know each other. And so Dan needs to know when he hears from Carl, hey, my car's doing this, he can't tell the intensity of it. He doesn't really know exactly how far he needs to go. That's something they'll learn with time.
Yeah, they may have to use numbers for that for a while, 1 to 10 on the scale, till he can understand his voice a little bit more as we see a battle for the lead. It's like Kyle Busch has had enough of riding in second.
Can he be the next leader? Can he be the 6th different car to lead? They got to be able to hang on back to the start-finish line for it to be an official lead change.
Looks like he's going to be able to get Tony Stewart cleared here with some help from Clint Boyer.
I think maybe Tony's car got a little bit too free out front there, and that allowed, he might have had to check up just a little bit coming off of turn 2.
He may have chosen to fall back in just a little bit.
All right, got a little lead draft here now.
Tony might just want to play and see exactly what he can do if he gets back. Then he knows what his car will do out front, but what will it do if I have to pass some people?
So Tony will lose not only the lead, but lose a couple more spots as Joey Logano takes the high side. We'll try to go around.
Let's see if Tony doesn't get back there and just work his way back towards the front again.
Yeah, the Toyotas don't look overpowering, but there's a lot of them up front. You see Brian Vickers in the 32, the 10 of Brudeman. There's Joey Logano. I mean, there's a lot of Toyotas up front.
88 car. Now you see in that second pack, they're able to begin to move in a little bit. He and Kevin Harvick trying to move in their 7th and 8th, closing in on that lead draft because of the mixing it up they've been doing up front.
Yeah, those three cars, front three, had pulled away from the other guys a little bit, and whenever Tony decided to get out of it, and that kind of closed things up quite a bit and brought more cars into the mix.
It kind of hung Logano up in that high groove by himself. Whoa! See Rudeman getting real loose off turn 2.
We are 9 laps away from the halfway point here at Daytona, the season opener, the Camping World 300, and it is Kyle Busch at the front. Back at Daytona, great view of our leaders courtesy of the folks from DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. Next week we head west. 2,500 miles of NASCAR Nationwide Series, race number 2 at Auto Club Speedway in California. Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. What a race that was a year ago. Tony Stewart dominated, but had some cars right on his rear bumper through most of the final 20 laps. Kevin Harvick, who started today on the pole, now beginning to pick them off one by one and make his way back toward the front. He is in 3rd position.
He had a fast car early, but he got real loose after they ran a few laps. They made an adjustment, I'm sure, on this last pit stop. Looks like his car's a lot better. He's able to get back to the front now. He's running 3rd.
Tony Stewart, who had been our leader, what do you call those moments when the car just suddenly moves? And here's a 26 car sliding sideways. Brian Keselowski, Brad's older brother. And that will bring out caution for the second time.
Come on to your pit stall. We got turn.
Spotter says they got turned.
We're in there. Use the rim.
Just a flat right front tire. Car looks to be essentially damage free. Other than that, very fortunate he didn't hit something or
just blew all the tires out when he spun around there.
Unfortunately, they weren't ready for him to be in the pits there, so it's taking a little bit longer and trying to get the car up. Only going to lose a lap.
They don't have to worry about too many men over the wall. There's only 3.
Now watch the right side of your screen. Let's see if we see the contact here.
Oh yeah,
you can see just a little bit of contact.
Like maybe the 42 car.
Just enough to get him sideways, and he gathered it back in, locks the brakes down, and just comes to a halt. So it doesn't hit anything, just loses some tires and some time on the racetrack.
05.
Second caution flag today, and Kevin Harvick's bunch ready to rock and roll. Likewise, Kyle Busch's team, Clint Bowyer's team, these guys, their second pit stop. For some, it'll be 3rd of the year.
Tony Stewart's going to need to make some adjustments on his car because he got real loose after leading the race there for quite a few laps. And I think they're going to have to make a big swing at this.
Yeah, he had complained about being loose before and tightened it up somewhat. Looked like it worked for a while.
Under this caution, our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner is the 15 car, rookie Michael Annette. And he will get a lap back. He was the first car a lap down.
Yeah, that came as a result of a flat tire. And he actually, I was watching Michael during that run there. He actually stayed up in the lead group and was running very well. So this is a good break for him.
That will now give us 36 cars on the lead lap. Bowyer, Kyle Busch, Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Vickers now in 5th, Logano and Stewart. That's the top 7.
Yeah, Mike Bliss had worked his way up into the top 10 in the 8th spot.
He's done it kind of quietly, but he has made a nice run up to the front. Gained 20 spots in that last run.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan had started back in 35th and was flirting with a top 10 and slid back when the caution came out. Let's go down to Shannon.
Tony Stewart, they are going to get a little more aggressive with this pit stop. He's way too loose. They're going to go down on the track bar 2 rounds and make an air pressure adjustment for this car. Tony Stewart running in 7th right now. Vince.
Clint Bowyer, the leader, is in his pit box as well. They're going to make a small adjustment on the track bar down and a small air pressure adjustment. He still says the car's a little loose, but they're getting close. Jamie?
Last stop, Kyle Busch Busch had some scuff tires. He loves the old tires, but they're going to try stickers this time. No adjustments. The 18 is down and away. Dave?
Kevin Harvick restarted first, fell out of the top 10, then drove it back to third. Perhaps why he wanted no changes to that race car, just 4 tires and fuel.
Well, this time we are collision free on the Stampede off of pit road, and there are the big gainers. Kyle Busch, no adjustments. Logano up 3 spots.
Moyer lost 3 spots though.
Watch Tony Stewart stop there.
Yeah, you see he slid to a stop right there and flat spotted that right front tire.
Jason Leffler's car came by and just clipped that tire out of his hands. And watch again. Watch Leffler's Toyota come by.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he caught that tire. No harm, no foul.
Lucky he got only the tire. Folks, it is dangerous on pit road. Takes a lot of skill and a lot of luck sometimes. Back for the green flag in just a moment. We are 1 lap shy of the halfway point here in the Camping World 300 at Daytona. Working caution number 2 on the day. A number almost everyone has been on and off pit road, including the 24 car, the Ford of Eric McClure, getting some work. Why don't we watch our front tire carrier for that team, John Buslow, who's carrying a camera and a microphone.
All right, boys, here we go. 4 tires of fuel, a couple adjustments. Take our time, watch out for that car. Go easy pulling, go easy on. Go on temp suspenders. Take our time here. Wait for Richard. Easy off. Easy on.
Looks simple and easy, but you got to be able to maintain your composure. A lot of tape on the front of that car.
Well, they're trying to make an adjustment there while they had a little time. Changed all the tires, and you can see Buslow go back and get a piece of tape they put on the grill, trying to make it run just a little bit faster.
Kyle Busch, our leader. If you just joined our coverage, we've had 12 lead changes among 6 different drivers. Clint Bowyer and Tony Stewart are tied, having led 16 laps apiece. Kyle Busch started the day back in 13th position. He led the most laps in this race a year ago, only to finish second to his teammate then, Tony Stewart.
As you said, Doc, we have 36 cars still in the lead lap, and that last car is Michael Walter, who came in and made an extra pit stop, making some adjustments on his car, trying to get it to where he can win the race as we go back to green flag.
Right behind Kyle Busch is Kevin Harvick. Then comes Kyle's teammate, Joey Logano. Then Harvick will have some help back there. Clint Bowyer, his Cup Series teammate, back in 4th position.
They were getting the green flag. They were getting the cross flags. We're halfway through this race, so 60 laps to go.
Takes about a half or 2/3 a lap to get these cars up to full speed. Well, we saw a moment ago one of the crew members on the 80 car get clipped as the Leffler's car came by. Let's listen in.
Couldn't figure out why they kept showing the replay of our pit stop. Now I saw why. You all right?
Yeah, he's all good. He's tough as nails.
Shannon.
Yeah, that was J.D. Holcomb, the front tire carrier for Tony Stewart's number 80 car. Now that is number 5 crew guys from the Cup side. This is Mark Martin's crew pitting this crew. So Alan Gustafson, crew chief for the number 5, came down here, checked everything out. Lance McGrew, crew chief for Tony Stewart today, got off the pit box. All is good. Holcomb said he is fine. It just hit his tire. He says he's feeling good.
Yeah, good in the pit, Shannon, but not good on the racetrack because the 80 car is stuck in the middle and they're going by him on both sides, or they were a moment ago.
Yeah, he looks like he has his hands full right now. He's been pretty good on the start and restarts, Andy, but looks like his car's not what he wants right now.
Well, he's just had some handling problems after he runs 10 or 15 laps. Right there, I think he just got caught in the middle. It was kind of an aerodynamic thing where he just wasn't in the right spot, but I don't think that's going to hurt him too much here.
You know what he wanted to do? He wanted to get there with his favorite drafting buddy, that 5 car. He and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are pretty good buds, and now they hook up and look out.
can see that 5 and 17 there side by side. They were the ones that had to come from the back.
Just got the 5 behind us.
There's Brendan Gaughan in the 62 car, get to the bumper of Greg Biffle. Brendan's having a great race. This is only his second nationwide start ever.
Wow,
great job here.
You see Matt Kenseth, he gave his teammate David Reagan a bump draft down the backstretch as they got into turn 3, and then Matt's car got real loose.
Good run for Stephen Wallace, the third-generation driver. His third full year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He has hung in the top 15 basically most of the day.
He's in the right spot right now because he's got that 5 car right in front of him, and the bottom of the racetrack is kind of the place to be on good tires.
That is the 16 car of Biffle outside of young Wallace. That's 12th and 13th you're looking at there behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Outside line's trying to make a run at these guys. See Kyle Busch leading, got a little push there from Kevin Harvick. Here comes Brad Keselowski on the outside trying to lead that group to the front.
That's a nice little run getting into turn 3. He's had a solid day. This car's been very good all day, and other than his little pit road incident, he stayed out of trouble pretty well.
Yeah, he has.
Mike Bliss right there underneath Keselowski also on the bottom.
Now Mike Bliss, you see that Joey Logano now moving out to try to move around the second place car of Harvick and get up with his teammate Kyle Busch. Vince?
Guys, Joey Logano on the outside. You see him making his move around the outside. This car won all 3 of the restrictor plate races last year, both times here at Daytona and also at Talladega. He says the car is stupid tight in traffic, but you can see no traffic in front of him right now, and the car is handling very well.
One thing that'll help that kind of a condition is he can get the lead and get some air on the front end. That could be the car to beat, because we haven't heard anybody really that tight today. Most of the cars are loose.
Yeah, that's how you can change the handling, especially if you're tight. You see him go 3 wide here. Keselowski to the outside.
Don't you love restrictor plate racing at Daytona? 17 cars within 1/3 of a second, side by side, 2 by 2. And as you said a moment ago, now 3 wide with Logano in the middle.
Logano looked like he was poised to take the lead, and he just got hung in the middle, and now he's going straight back.
Now, this is what we expected. Now, when we started today, these guys got single file pretty quickly, and this is what we expect Daytona in the Nationwide Series.
Push from the 6, 29 comes up to you.
So we've got some new players up front. Mike Bliss in that 1 car is making a lot of noise right now on the bottom.
Yeah, he's there. David Reagan up on the outside. He's in that 6 car right behind Clint Boyer in the 29.
They know it's halfway, and these are 300-mile races, not 500-mile races, so might as well go while you can.
Well, the thing is when you've got good new tires on, if you get in these situations and make some ground, once these tires start going away, they're going to have to start using a lot more racetrack.
Yeah, they've done that. Plus, they've had 2 chances to make some changes to their cars, so these guys have got their cars better. Now it's time to show that.
26 cars in this draft within about 1/3 of a second of the leaders, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Harvick's car just bouncing around back there.
I guarantee you those things are a handful, Dale, especially when you don't have as much room to work.
It makes it exciting, I tell you, because you do everything to trim these cars out, make them go through the air as good as you can, which takes away downforce, which means they don't drive that good, especially as you have the air buffeting around there. But it is exciting when you've got a car that you can get out front like Brad Keselowski's done right now.
Clint Boyer just pushed Brad Keselowski by the 18 car for the lead.
He got a great push from Clint Boyer. Now you can see the high line's kind of taken over.
Yeah, those 2 cars out front right now might be what we've seen as 2 of the best cars today. We've seen Tony Stewart lead, and we know Kyle Busch has a really good car. These 2 guys out front right now might have the 2 best handling cars.
Let's update Clint Boyer. Vince.
Well, Mike Dillon, the director of competition for Richard Childress Racing, is the spotter for Clint Boyer, and he just told Boyer, "You've got the best car. As soon as the line catches you, I'll let you know, and we'll go." He's been cheering on Boyer all day long, saying, "I know you don't like the car, but I can tell you from here, it's the fastest and the best one on the track. We'll see."
He may not like it, but it's doing awfully well right now. Clint Boyer, the reigning series champion, in second spot behind Brad Keselowski. Just 52 laps to go. A hard crash at Daytona involving 3 cars. Heavy damage. There's the 11 of rookie Scott Lagasse Jr. There's another rookie, Justin Allgaier, on the Penske Dodge. And also involved the driver who was having a great run in his 3rd year at 66 of Stephen Wallace.
You can see heavy damage there on Jason Keller's car, or on Scott Lagasse's car.
Stephen able to put the window net down. That's a good sign, and you can see the ejection.
That's just, man, I'll tell you, a big race like Daytona and you fall out of it.
Down. Let's get the hood down and get it verified. Don't worry about tires. Don't worry about tires right now.
Waited all winter for this chance, and he's having a great day, and boy, it just takes it all out of you for just that time. See what happened here.
We saw him racing pretty tight back in this pack.
Jason Leffler.
Yeah,
Jesse got into the left rear of Stephen.
Nothing Stephen Wallace can do in that situation. He tries to hang on to it right here, but it goes up across the racetrack and collects these 2 cars right here, and you see that heavy lick.
Carl Edwards just snuck by.
Nowhere for Lagasse or Allgaier to go.
He's coming inside now, inside.
Riding along here with Stephen Wallace.
Easy.
See, once you commit to that high line and the car comes up in front of you, there's just nothing you can do at that point. Look at Carl Edwards just barely sneak by.
And they will all come in for what should be their final stop of the day if we stay green to the finish. Here comes the 88 Keselowski as the leader. Let's go down to the 80 pit. Shannon.
Doc Tony Stewart says the car's a little tight, but he expects it to free up. He just hasn't been able to find the right line. No changes for this 80 car. 4 stickers, Sunoco fuel in that car. Vin.
Clint Boyer is in, and he had a problem with the hood pin on the right front, and they've had to put a couple of pins in to make sure they're putting 4 tires in fuel. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch says he's a tick free in and a tick tight off. 4 tires. They said they can make it to the end on fuel. Dave?
Brad Keselowski leaves pit road with 4 tires and fuel. Little squiggly getting off there. He only had one question for Pops Uri, the crew chief that's won here 7 times with Dale Earnhardt Sr. Can we make it from here? The answer was yes, so they put fuel in the car and gave up the lead.
And Jason Keller gains 18 spots. Got to believe he might have just topped off, or at most took 2 tires in his Ford. And how about Brad Keselowski again? Makes it exciting trying to come off of pit road. Watching pull out here again. There's Keller.
These things have such a higher gear in them. Give them a lot of gas to get out of there.
All I care about right now is speed. Living life on the road.
Under caution, working lap 75 here in the Camping World 300 at Daytona. This yellow flag brought out by contact between the 38 and 66. Now you decide, was the contact incidental or intentional? Down the back straightaway. 3 cars heavily damaged. Let's look again at what happened.
We see them battling right here, and like Stephen slides in a little bit of a hole there. Jason Keller goes to the inside, or Jason Leffler goes to the inside. Then as they start to enter turn 3, I don't know if Jason Leffler was going to try to get back in behind, or that looks
like he might have been aggravated about that move. But you know, if there's enough room to get your car in it in these kind of situations, you're gonna have to take it.
Yeah, that's going to happen all day, and that's just things that you go through here throughout the day.
I think Stephen Wallace has made a decision on what he thinks happened.
Yeah, he's not happy about it. And I don't blame him. I mean, he had a good run going. He was sitting there in the spot he needed to be in, and he's knocked out of the race for no good reason. Nothing he did.
We saw the 88 car again hustling out as the meat and the sandwich trying to leave the pits. Let's talk with our in-race reporter, Brad Keselowski.
Brad, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dale.
Well, it looks like you might have the car to beat now. It looked awful strong there. Do you make any adjustments on that pit stop?
Nah, when you're out front, everything's good, especially on this GoDaddy Chevrolet. I'm pretty happy with it. I know Kyle's going to be tough. He's a really good competitor, so stay tuned. This is going to be a good showdown for the fans.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Have you found that there's one certain make of car or any car out there that works better with you drafting?
No, not really. I mean, Clint helped me a bunch right there, but even it looked like he was having a hard time pulling all the way up. So we'll have to see what exactly we got going on there, but we're strong, that's for sure, and I'm real proud on everyone in this Junior Motorsports team. It's a pretty cool car.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
How about it, Tony Sr., Andy Petrie in the booth? Do you have us?
4, I got you.
Hey, Tony, a couple things. You think the tires will go this whole run? And the other question would be, how about the fuel?
Well, you know, I don't know. We have a set of tires left here, and if caution comes out, I'm sure we'll use them. But, you know, they'll make the whole run for sure, but probably sliding around a lot at the end. But our teammate there in the 5, I think they're out of tires, so they tore up a set in practice. So, you know, if we're going to have him help us, we need it to go green all the way, I guess, if he's going to help us, because if we get new tires on, he might be in trouble.
Okay, you answered the tire question. How about fuel?
We're good to go. We can make it the rest of the way.
Okay, Pops. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
We showed you the incident a moment ago on the racetrack, and NASCAR has made a decision next door, and they are going to levy a 5-lap penalty for the 38 car of Jason Leffler for what they deem aggressive driving. Still lots of coverage to come your way here at Daytona. Sports Center follows us, the usual suspects. Alan, Brad, Rusty, and Ray setting up the Daytona 500. Of course, NASCAR Now, Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and Monday afternoon. NASCAR Nationwide Series competition in California presented by GoDaddy.com. Next Saturday at 7 Eastern Time. NHRA Arizona Nationals Finals next Sunday at 7 Eastern. Very busy week here on ESPN2. Don't you love it when the driver says stay tuned? It's going to get even more thrilling. I love to hear Brad Keselowski say that. Keselowski now back in 4th position. Jason Keller, by the way, our newest leader.
He sounded confident, too. Keselowski did. Here we go, green.
Well, he's got his drafting partner right behind him in that 29 car, Clint Boyer, so that should make Brad feel pretty good. He's the one that helped push him to the front back in the last run.
And just 2 cars back is Dale Earnhardt Jr., the boss man.
Nice to see Jason Keller out front here. I know he only took fuel there, but got himself in position. He's actually run pretty well all day. Jamie?
Well, Todd Gordon is his crew chief. He made the decision to stay out, gain 17 positions. How are you feeling about that call right now?
I think it's decent. We've got 11 laps on these tires. I want to keep something around, so if we need one at the end, we got a set left in the box here. Need to pull on a fender a little bit, so a little calculated risk. We got fuel, so we're equal at. Tire wear looks good, so we may suffer a little here, but I think we'll have something at the end.
Well, Todd told me they're going to be 2 to 3 laps short on fuel, guys, so they must pit anyway. Doc?
Jamie, even with those used tires, the 27 car is hanging up there, and you see on the right side of your screen that they're invoking that penalty on the 38 car. Down there talking to crew chief Scott Zippadelli is the NASCAR official, and he will sit there for 5 laps. Listen in.
And holding you 5 laps for aggressive driving. I was trying to let him back in line. I was totally by accident. You are kidding me. They were about to ride and we're not even racing hardly.
Now, that's what makes it difficult whenever you put yourself in a position for NASCAR to have to watch TV and make a statement or determine exactly what happened and what they think happened. So, you know, it's difficult. I hate it for Jason, and it may not have been any intent on his part for what happened, but that's what NASCAR deems. So you have to try to stay out of those situations where they're going to be making calls from up here in the booth.
Yeah, bad news is he can't get any of those laps back when they're NASCAR mandated laps down. You can't get them back by virtue of lucky dog. And by the way, all 3 of those drivers in the incident a moment ago checked out in the care center. They're okay.
Now, how about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? He's getting a lot more aggressive in this run. He knows that this is the money run, and here he comes on the outside. He's got help from Brad Keselowski, his teammate, behind him.
He just took a little longer to get up there and get to where we thought he was going to be before the end of the day, and maybe he's just been holding back and wanting to get to this spot.
Boys, David Reagan in that 6 car, he's no slouch either. He's been right there most of the afternoon, hanging behind the 88.
But I think the 88's going to get up here to Junior's bumper Clint Boyer has gotten out front.
Now, how do you work this, Dale? You're Clint Boyer, and you got 2 lines behind you. How do you work those 2 lines when you're up front like that?
It becomes work right now because you want to go, and your spotter's helping somewhat, but you have to look in the mirror, and you have to anticipate who's going to be the next one to get there, that you're going to have to really, it's not as much about blocking.
Caution's out.
See the 42 car in the wall here.
That is Kenny Hendrick.
They got another car spinning over there just a little bit. Looked like it's Eric McClure.
There is a 24 car. You just called Andy. He's also down on the inside of the racetrack. He's had some contact.
I'm sure all these guys will stay. The leaders will stay out here because they just pitted. See a lot of debris, though. That's the one thing you got to be careful of when you come through this section of the racetrack is not getting a flat tire.
So we can show you what happened here. Bringing out caution number 4 on the day.
Oh,
that's
a tire. Definitely cut a tire or something there.
There weren't enough laps on those tires, so he probably had to run over something, or maybe he got against someone else before that.
Yeah, heavy damage on that car.
I'd say it's killed. I mean, it hit hard. It went straight to the fence.
Knockout punch on the car owned by Evander Holyfield. Heavy contact there. They will head back to the garage area, hoping to run the full season, though, that 42. And back, Jason Leffler still sitting there, got to serve a 5-lap penalty. Shannon.
Doc, is crew chief Scott Zipadelli down off the pit box watching Jason Leffler serve his penalty. We saw you pleading your case with NASCAR. What did you say to them, and what did they say to you?
I can't repeat it.
So what are they saying that happened out there?
They basically said that they called 5-lap penalty for rough driving. I was pleading the case because that clearly wasn't rough driving. I mean, you're in the draft. I didn't see it, so I can't really say what happened. I didn't get to see the replay, but I mean, they've never called a rough driving penalty like that ever since I can remember. So all we can do now is take the penalty, move forward, try to. We got a good car. Great Clips Toyota's running good all day. We, had a few issues early on, but trying to get it back in the race and push one of our teammates to win. That's all we can do, and discuss it after the race.
All right, stay out there, regroup, and get ready for Fontana. Doc?
Again, the replay of the incident on lap 71. The contact initially between the 38 car of Leffler and the 66 of Stephen Wallace.
This is a tough call because mistakes can actually happen, but NASCAR looked at this and said it looked intentional to them. They're going to hold him 5 laps, and this is why that is so serious. I mean, these cars are flying through here, and see some heavily damaged race cars.
Easy.
Scott Lagasse Jr. also caught up in another one of the rookie drivers, and Vince is with him.
St. Augustine, Florida, nearby, and not the way you wanted the home race to end, I know. What did you see as the incident happened in front of you?
Not at all the day we were expecting. Paul and the guys at CJM Racing built this car from the ground up, and really a good race car. Just really spent the day biding our time, trying to gain some respect, and I don't know, a couple guys got together in front of us and tried to get it woe down into the bottom, and Justin, he couldn't see anything, just ran into us, so nothing he could have done, just kind of caught up in somebody else's mess. So you hate it for America's Incredible Pizza Company and the guys, because we did have a really good race car. It was really good in practice, and really just learning, biding our time, trying to gain some respect. So go to California.
Scott Lagasse Jr. out, and Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier has also been released from the medical center. Doc?
Thank you, Vince. And the 38 has now been released from pit road. He will head back on the racetrack. Showing 31 cars on the lead lap. Less than 40 laps to go here at Daytona. Clint Boyer, the 2008 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion, our leader. Harvick, Kyle Busch, Earnhardt Jr., and Stewart, the top 5. It has been a beautiful day here in Daytona as we are under caution, and next week we head 2,500 miles west for the NASCAR Nationwide Series race number 2 at Auto Club Speedway. Tony Stewart dominated the year ago. Kyle Busch won last August. And oh my, that's always exciting to go out west and see what the gunslingers will do on the 2-mile oval in Southern California. Here's our current leader, Clint Boyer. And he is our leader, but a moment ago he was back in the draft. I want to show you in draft track exactly what happens when you get in that target zone.
We see Clint in the 29 car behind Jason Keller in the 27. green is that target zone. You can see he gets a little bit of push from Kevin Harvick. As they come off the corner, he'll be able to close in, and that air is going over those cars so that the two can run faster. Watch as we get down through the tri-oval here. He really pushes Jason Keller by Kyle Busch, and then he's able to utilize that speed that he has there. He's going to pull out and actually make the pass for the lead here. Really a perfect example of how to use the draft. He was able to pull up, push Jason Keller by, and get him enough room to where his momentum was able to propel him to the lead.
And he's also going to work pit strategy. Let's listen in to Clint Boyer.
You got a plan, Dan, if everybody pits? I plan on staying out here, Richard. We've only got one set left. We've only got 3 laps on them.
That sounds like a plan to me. Stay out.
Simple but effective.
That's Richard Childress standing up on top. He's got an overview of this whole thing, and he just wants to make sure his guys are on top of things.
3 consecutive championships in this series. 06 with Harvick, the driver's title. Last year with Boyer. In 07, he won the owner's championship with the 29 car. A guy you know a whole lot about, Andy.
Oh, yeah. He likes to be involved in the race. He doesn't want to sit in the motorhome and watch it. He likes to get up on top where he can see, and he stays in communication with his crew. Likes to stay involved.
Laps clicking away. It'll be 35 to go this time as the pace car will pull away. We'll see if Boyer can hold off Harvick, Kyle Busch, Earnhardt Jr., Stewart. Remember how confident Brad Keselowski was. He is back in 6th spot.
Brad might be pretty confident in his race car, but he's got 5 tough competitors there in front of him. Not saying he can't do it.
He's got a lot of work to do, but he's got 36 laps to get it done. He's 35 to come back.
Kevin Harvick began the day as the pole sitter, driving his own car. He has never won a race in his own KHI Kevin Harvick Incorporated machine. Wanted to change that today. Here goes some drafting on the inside. Now there's the lap car of Jason Leffler, and now Earnhardt Jr. has nowhere to go. He's going to try to push him by.
Junior felt like he could get down there and really get a push and a pull at the same time. I think he thought that was his quickest way to the front. May work out for him, but that high line's been pretty tough here on these restarts.
Sort of locked in behind Leffler. I guess the good news is that Leffler's got a pretty good race car.
Got a fast car, but he's kind of in the mix of these guys trying to figure this thing out for the win and get position. You can see Leffler goes straight up to the front there.
Kevin Harvick now in the middle as they go by him on both sides.
That middle's not a bad place if you've got somebody pushing you in the middle, but when you're going the direction that Harvick is right there,
not
you lose
good.
Spots in a hurry.
Let's check into the garage area event. Standing by with Stephen Wallace.
Well, the 5-lap penalty to Jason Leffler, little consolation to Stephen Wallace in the 66 car. Jason said on the radio that he was trying to let you in and looked like he hooked you there, but had the two of you had any run-ins during the course of the day previous?
I don't know. I guess the little guy couldn't steer the steering wheel. It's just, you know, I didn't really hate it for all our U.S. Fidelis guys on my team. You know, we had a really, really fast race car. It's just a shame, you know, we were running up front. We had a good car. You know, we're just, you know, dang logging laps, you know, trying to make it there towards the end. But I never had a problem with Jason. I don't know what happened, but, you know, I mean, I just felt like I was on the top side, just had my wheels straight, you know, just to draft it up top, and I got hooked in the left rear quarter panel. It's just, I don't know. I'm sure he didn't mean it, but, you know, what goes around comes around.
Frustrating day for Stephen Wallace in the 66 team. Doc?
Thanks, Vincent. What a move a moment ago by the one car of Mike Bliss, all the way from the bottom to the middle to the top of the racetrack, past 3 cars, and is now trying to hold on to second position.
He got a strong horse, and he's decided to use it at the most important part of the race, right here at the end. He's saving some for this last charge to the finish.
Yeah, it is tight in there now, though.
Well, 3 wide in 2 different lanes. Kyle Busch in the middle. Here is Mike Bliss now stuck in the middle.
That middle's just not the place to be today. I've seen that work before, but today every car that's got stuck in the middle is going straight back.
There's a lot of take and no give going on right now as we get down to when it counts 32 to go.
What's the old Bob Dylan song? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. I'm stuck in the middle again. These guys are humming that one right now. There's Bliss still going back.
I see two guys that like to work together going forward, and that's Dale Jr. in second and Tony Stewart in third.
Yeah, Clint Boyer's going to have his hands full trying to hold these guys off, but you see Junior get real loose off the corner.
Update Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jamie.
Oh, Mike Bliss.
He started 24th. Remember, he had to be patient. We have caution on the track, guys. The one is around.
Bliss gets contact, almost gets by.
Yeah, he got clipped in the left rear by David Reagan. I was kind of watching as they were coming through the tri-oval. I wasn't sure that Bliss knew he was there and was going to give him any room. And then it looked like that Mike was going to get out of all of that, but he got clipped.
Michael Waltrip was just a victim.
You know, something had to give. They were ever 3 by 3 by 3 in the top 10.
And that's how quickly things can change. He was up there battling in second, going for the lead. We see Michael Waltrip here. He sustained a little damage. We see Bliss trying to make a little bit of room there. David Reagan is already there.
They don't want you to go below that double yellow line unless to avoid contact, and there was the contact as Reagan was right against the line.
Yeah, Reagan was doing basically all he could do. You see Michael Waltrip just about snuck through there, but got some heavy damage off of Mike Bliss. See right here, the 6th car of David Reagan, he's right on that line, if not below it. It's just not enough room. It just kind of funnels down in that tri-oval. You have to try to, you know, you really kind of run out of room right there.
Yeah, that's a racing incident there. You know.
Let's listen in to the radio from the 1, Mike Bliss.
Too wide. Watch that inside car. Watch that inside car. Watch it. Watch it. Come on, keep digging. You won't get in.
Kevin Harvick on board. You'll see what he saw when it all broke loose right in front of him.
In front of you, go high, stay in it. All right, watch it. Back out.
Mike Bliss just wasn't clear enough there to pull down. Yeah, these guys are going right at 190 miles an hour through that part of the racetrack. He just narrows up.
Boy, Michael almost got through there. He almost got below it.
Yeah, the almost part's the one that got him, though.
What about pit stops, crew chief? You see a couple of damaged cars on pit road. How about the guys up front?
Well, it's you know, they can make it on fuel, and a lot of guys up front would love to have tires. There's only 30 laps to go, and most of them have a set of tires. We heard him say that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had used up an extra set, so he is kind of committed, and I'm sure he's hoping everybody's going to stay out right here because he doesn't have a set of tires to put on.
Yeah, because he's going to be a sitting duck if these guys all go get tires, I believe, unless his car is just handling extremely well all day.
Clint Boyer will set the tone here. If he comes down pit road, you might see some of the leaders follow him, but it looks to me like they're going to stay out.
I bet some of those guys back not far from there are going to get tires. That's the ones that have been struggling with their handling some as they go on. Here comes Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart just thinks his best chance is to have tires on his car.
I like his thinking.
Yeah, I do too.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Janet.
Well, it was a game of follow the leader. The 80 car, Tony Stewart pulls it down pit road. He says it's just a little bit tight, but he thinks it's just because he's in traffic. He's going with Dale Jr., guys, wherever he goes on the track.
It'll be a while before he catches Dale Jr. now. He's got to work his way back to the front. Dave?
And Carl Edwards was one of those guys in the back of the pack, really had no track position to lose at this point, had a set of tires for this race car, and so they'll go ahead and put those on as well. If Stewart thought 4 fresh ones might be good, Carl Edwards was thinking the same thing.
Bottom, you might as well go ahead and use them, huh?
That's exactly right. You don't want to leave anything on the table.
Under caution for the 5th time, and we're getting down toward the money laps. Less than 30 to go. Back with the green flag in a moment. Back at Daytona, Clint Boyer, the leader of the Camping World 300, just 28 laps to go. It is Boyer, Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, and how about Brian Vickers in that 32 car back in 4th spot?
Made a nice run to get in position to have a shot at this. Green flag.
Now, Vickers won at Talladega in the Cup Series a couple years ago, so he definitely knows how to get it done at the end of the race.
Bad news is he is the lone Toyota up there in the top 7. It is 3 Chevys, him, and then 3 Fords behind him.
Yeah, that 18 car with Kyle Busch in it, in a Toyota, won't be too long getting up there.
He also has a teammate, that 38 car, Jason Leffler, sitting right there on the bottom of the racetrack, 5 laps down, but he could figure into this if he could help his teammate.
Absolutely.
Let's see what Mr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to do with Clint Boyer. Remember, he's got his teammate right on his bumper, Brad Keselowski.
And Brad goes to the inside. See Vickers up high. Jamie?
You guys are talking about Brian Vickers, how good he is on these restrictor plate tracks. Well, he happens to have a great car. They have made no adjustments all race long. He started 27th, running up there in the front. And guys, he's very aware of the freight train of Fords right behind him.
If you have a fast car, it's funny how it doesn't make a difference what kind of car it is behind you. They tend to go with you.
Clint Boyer has not won on a restrictor plate racetrack, Daytona or Talladega. There you see Brian Vickers, who has won at Talladega, as you heard Dale Jarrett say, in the Cup car. Behind him, the 16 car of Greg Biffle.
And Brad Keselowski got himself boxed in down the bottom behind Jason Leffler. He's able to move up now and get to the high side, but he lost a couple of spots.
Well, Earnhardt Jr. trying to inch up and get in line. He cannot get there.
Well, pushing and shoving through the tri-oval right here.
Man, that's not exactly a place. Rusty and I were talking before in the countdown show where you do and you don't bump draft, and through the tri-oval was one of those places you generally don't, but they got away with it. Biffle got into the back of Brian Vickers pretty hard.
Well, less than 30 laps to go, and history tells us if we're going to have a big one, it may be coming soon.
I don't think there's any doubt, because these guys are going to run totally out of patience here shortly.
There's some bump drafting right here.
Yeah, right by to the lead.
Brian Vickers takes the lead, becomes the 10th different driver to lead. Here comes Boyer back on the bottom. Vickers in the middle there.
Vickers got a big shot from Biffle.
Yeah.
Getting in the corner. Looks like it hurt Greg Biffle.
Sometimes you shoot him out there too far and you just lose all of that, and it changes the handling of your car all of a sudden too. You can see Biffle go up the track. I think he might have got a little bit loose once he shot him up there.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 car was trying to form a 3rd lane up high with a little bit of drafting help from Brendan Gaughan behind him.
Brendan Gaughan's done a great job today too. Not had a lot of laps in a Nationwide Series car, but he's doing a great job today.
Just for your information, Tony Stewart, he's trying to make his way up. He's up into the 15th spot now.
Kevin Harvick got on the inside in the 33, trying to make the pass, getting by the 20 car of Logano.
Talked about Logano a number of times. He's done a great job today too. You could really see a progress from last week. There's Brendan Gaughan right up against the wall. David Rudiman right behind him.
How about DJ Kennington? He's up there 13th spot. He's right in the mix with these guys. Doing a great job today too.
That is the 81 car. Well, it's time for Nationwide to take you up to speed. Let's start out with Jamie Little.
Well, Brian Vickers was aware those Fords were behind him, and sure enough, they helped him get to the front. Brian Vickers, it's been almost 6 years since he's gone to victory lane. Doc, you told me before the race, he is ready to get back to victory lane as he leads this field. Dave?
Greg Biffle was asked in our countdown show as he looks to the outside of Vickers for that lead what his car was on a scale of 1 to 10. Well, it's an 8. Looks like a 9 as he moves by Vickers. It may be a 10 today. Greg will run the first 3 races of the season for this race team. Right behind him, Brad Keselowski in that bright green race car. That car has been just a little bit loose all day long as he now goes to the outside and tries to make it happen. They drive better because Dale Earnhardt Jr., company owner, wanted them to have a better driving race car, but they never took the speed fully out of it. This car was raced last year for Keselowski. Vince?
Clint Boyer in the 29 has been leading much of the day, but he's just slipped back in the pack, and his spotter Mike Dillon telling him, don't worry, we've got a long way to go. There is one more set of fresh tires for Clint Boyer, but crew chief Dan Deringhoff said we can stay out to the end. We've got enough fuel, but I'm guessing they don't want to sit on that last set and take those to the garage. The 17 of Matt Kenseth has been fighting a loose race car throughout much of the day today. They also considered coming in when Stewart and Carl Edwards came in on that last stop, but instead Kenseth and his crew chief agreed they're going to stay out and save that last set of tires for another yellow. Dave?
Vince, Kevin Harvick runs 3rd in line on the bottom in that 30 20 car. Remember, he was the fastest qualifier, started on the pole today. At one point, fell back in the pack, but his ability to drive up through proved to him and his crew that he could do it when it counted, and it counts now. He will look to the inside of Keselowski and try to take that third position. Jamie?
And it counts for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's looking for the 88. That is his driver, Brad Keselowski. They need to work together here. Now, ironically enough, it's the 88 that's been the stronger car. We have a change for the lead right now, guys. Things are getting mixed up, Doc.
Clint Boyer just came to the high side in a hurry to try to be able to go by the 32 car, but now he's stabilized. Can he get a little bit of a shove from Keselowski behind him?
There's somebody else in that mix that's going to be up front for too long. That 80 car has made his way all the way up to this lead group. Tony Stewart.
Man, I like that idea of getting those 4 tires. This is a slick racetrack. You still had plenty of time left.
I like it right now, but if the caution would happen to come out and these other guys could come in and get tires, he could put the shoe on the other foot. But I like it right now. Brendan gone right up against the wall.
Great racing here in the final 20 laps at Daytona. Season opener for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Up front, it is Toyota, Chevrolet. There's a Ford that's been in and out there. The 16 and 17 are side by side.
You know, you see a lot of guys lay back in these restrictor plate races and kind of just hang out. Right now, with 20 laps to go, there's nobody holding back anything.
No, there's no hold back. There's not much give to some of these guys. They're not going to let the guy in a hole right now that may be questionable as whether you can get in. Brian Vickers, that's very impressive. He's able to stay up there.
He is working that grass perfectly. He's working the bottom lane. He moves up just right here as they get in the corner, helps the top lane. He's working it back and forth, and he's doing a great job staying up front.
Yeah, you can't just sit out there on the bottom or up to the top because one of those lines is going to get some momentum and go by. You have to really work it, and that's what Brian's doing right now, doing a great job.
See some jockeying back here in the middle of this pack.
There's Tony Stewart in the 80 car. He's in the middle right behind David Reagan. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the inside in the 5.
Just not seeing the middle work very good today, but Tony Stewart is doing it better than anybody we've seen so far.
And most of the time, though, when guys have been in the middle, we've seen them getting past and separate, and they're headed backwards by doing that. Tony's trying to make something happen in the middle by pushing David Reagan up there. Shannon?
Tony Stewart doing his best to get back in that top 10. He was up there for a bit, guys. Some people might have questioned his choice to come down and get 4 tires. This is what Lance McGrew said to his driver.
Those are good scuffs. Those are 3-lap scuffs. And we went a little less fuel. Try to get a little nose weight. Try to help that free. Copy that. I'll get these back here. We'll get us a big blast here the first couple laps. Get most of them back right off the get-go. That's far. I ain't worried about it at all, bud. It's a long way from over here.
Lance McGrew told me this morning that when it was announced that Tony Stewart would be in this car for this race, there was no doubt in his mind that they were here to win. How important this win was to Tony and to Rick Hendrick. And right now, Tony Stewart trying to get back into that top 10.
Oh, my gosh. I wish you could see what we're seeing up here, Shannon. My goodness. That was a display of driving right there,
It's
guys.
no wonder he's won so many of these type races. He is so good at that. I mean, we're talking about a matter of a quarter of an inch.
Man, I have chills right now watching that guy go through there. I mean, pushing people through there, then taking himself in the middle, and then just blowing by Dale Jr.
Brian Vickers trying to hold off Biffle, Edwards, Harvick, and Kyle Busch. Folks, just 17 laps to go. Carl Edwards, the 11th different leader today here in the Camping World 300, and what a flurry of changes and passes up front here. Edwards trying to hold on. Tony Stewart almost got there, and now is stuck back in the middle again.
And we've got cars that have tires. Tony Stewart's got tires on this run, and so does Jason Keller. They're side by side, 3 wide through the tri-oval. This is making for a great finish. We saw Tony Stewart almost get the lead and then got trapped right in the middle. That's where he is right now. With basically no help. I'm surprised that some of these other guys haven't seen how fast Tony is and jumped down there with him.
Well, he got all the way to the front. The guys were helping him. Brad Keselowski was, but then all of a sudden Tony tried to make a move for the lead and didn't have it. He didn't have the steam to get by. Now he's found himself in a bad spot here.
19 cars are in this lead draft. The 27 car, Jason Keller having a great run down on the bottom of the racetrack. That is the 4th position.
Might not be the worst thing for Tony Stewart though here. He'll get another run. Whoa, if he can hang on to it. Wow, that's sideways. That might not look a lot right there, folks, on TV, but I can assure you from the cockpit, you felt like you were hung out about 40 degrees.
Guys, laps are clicking away down. Let's check in with our experts down there with Rusty, Ray, and Brad and Alan. You guys, it is getting wild toward the front. Typical Daytona.
Interesting thing here, Doc, is that we've been talking a lot. Oh, trouble. Into the outside wall, Keselowski, that's going to scramble up the pack. But Carl Edwards took tires at the same time Tony Stewart did, got up through the pack more quickly, and they can't get around him yet.
Yeah, and right now the 88's got a right front tire rub, it looks like, so that could cause some action. You keep talking about the big wreck. They've had the big wreck about the last 10 laps in a row. They just haven't hit anything.
Well, I got a feeling the big wreck's just getting ready to happen. These guys are running too close. A lot of smoke on the right front of that car, Brad Keselowski. That tire could fail, but guys, tension's getting high. I can feel it right now with 12 to go.
How about old Jason Keller, the veteran of the group out there hanging it out, old guy out of South Carolina. He's got a good run going today. Got a fast hot rod. He's going to the front, Doc.
It is a wild scramble up front, and the 88 car now slowing down.
Stay high, caution's out. Stay high, slow down, Brad. Slow down there, I'll get you low here. Stay high. Stay high, real high.
Tough break for Keselowski, but this is going to open up some options for some of these other guys right here, Dale.
Yeah, it is.
You know, Stewart doesn't have any more tires.
Yeah.
Neither does Dale Jr., but some of these other guys have a set of tires. How many laps did it take Stewart to get up there?
In 11 laps, he passed 23 cars, so
we have 11 laps to go. See right here.
We should have probably about 7 or 8. This is the first time off here.
Ooh, he's just doing all he can to try to get up there. You can see the lead. He's trying to nurse it along right here, and you see him getting down in the corner. He knows he's got a little bit of a problem, and that right front finally just lets go.
Man, he had such a great race all day long. It's unfortunate for a guy that we know is going to be one of the championship contenders in the Nationwide Series.
They hear the tire going down.
Yeah, but just blew. Stay high, caution's out. Stay high, slow down, Brad. Slow down there, I'll get you low here. Stay high, real high. Stay high there, slow way down, I'll get you low.
So he will bring his damaged Chevy to pit road here after caution comes out for the 6th time, and there's Pops Urey. They knew they had a shot. He had him up there.
And you just get to that point, he could see that he had a run possibly to the outside of Carl Edwards coming off a 2, and that's a very, very treacherous spot on this racetrack. Your car just tends to lose the front end right there, and especially when you're behind a car, and he was getting a push from Kyle Busch and just a little too much speed for the amount of grip that he had, or the lack of grip.
He's got a lot of damage right here. All they can do or hope for is just to get this thing back out there and try to finish the race. Too bad he's not going to have a shot at this thing, because he was right there.
And he was really doing a good job.
And as you said, running for the points championship in 2009, and would like to be able to get a good finish. Right now, 30 cars that are on the lead lap. Dave.
Doc, this was a car that ran last year that actually built a brand new race car, because Junior said we need to put some more drivability into these race cars, but there was too much drag on the car, so they kind of went back a little bit, got cars that were very sleek and drivable. It's been very good for Brad all day, so it's a big disappointment after, as you guys said, as good as that car was running, to have that happen so late.
Well, let's see who's going to be takers as far as new tires.
Okay, this is decision time for sure. We see some guys really thinking about pit road, and Vickers is going for it. Here comes Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick.
A lot of them.
Biffle is in, David Reagan is in, Kenseth.
It's definitely going to mix it up at the end.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. also on pit road. Brendan Gaughan.
It's like I was saying about that move for Stewart. I liked it when he did it.
Yeah.
This is what could have hurt him. Jamie.
And Brian Vickers, guys, gosh, he did not want to pit. It was all about track position, but he said, I know other guys in the top are going to pit. 4 tires for the 32.
Yep, with the 33 guys and the 16 of Biffle, they're both in. They'll take 4 tires. Harvick's team working on the left side now. He said before the race, mistakes have cost us before. That was a pretty good stop. Biffle does beat them out, and both of those cars had tires to spare. They put them on, and they'll have fresh rubber at the end of this race.
Well, crew chief, fresh rubber, and do they have enough time to get there?
We're going to find out. It's going to be fun to watch.
It should be, folks. Do not go away. Less than 10 laps to go. Back with the green flag in a moment.
Is where I need to be.
Our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World 300 is being brought to you by Camping World, the official RV and outdoor retailer of NASCAR, by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR, and by Viagra. Boys down in the pit studio, Alan, Brad, Rusty, and Ray getting set for a Sports Center special to follow our coverage here, presented by Wrangler. They're going to set the stage for what's going to happen here tomorrow, the 51st running of the Daytona 500. Scheduled guests to appear include the pole sitter Martin Truex Jr. Boys coming to the green flag, and as my daddy used to say, time to double up on the heart medicine. This one's going to test your ticker these final few laps. It should be a typical Daytona finish. Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart, Clint Boyer, Keller, and David Rudem in the top 5. And then the guys back there with fresh tires coming in a hurry.
Well, here we go. You know, we always talk about where do you want to be, what position you want to be in whenever it gets down to the end here. I always like being out front personally and make them pass me, but that might not be where you want to be with this particular package with restrictor plate and aero.
At bottom line down there, the 34 car, Tony Raines having a great run right in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now he goes up around him and takes Vickers with him.
I think Tony Stewart's going to want to get to the lead as soon as that possibility opens up for him.
I think it's getting ready to open up right here. He's got a big run. Here he goes underneath Carl Edwards.
Gets a little help from his Chevy partner, Clint Boyer, and they go sailing by Edwards. Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming on the outside. Whoa, the 27 car of Keller gets a bit of a wiggle.
Because Brian Vickers, he's tough. He's fast. He's trying to make the most out of those 4 tires he just put on there. He knows he's got a fast car, and he's got 4 tires. He might be sitting in the best spot right now.
It doesn't sound like much, but he really has plenty of time to get there. 6 laps is an eternity here.
It's definitely going to be an eternity for Stewart after trying to block these guys.
Kyle Busch still in the mix.
Bit of a wobble from Vickers back there right in front of Kyle Busch. Dave.
Guys, Carl Edwards falls back to 3rd right now. Remember, before the race started, he talked about the wreck I'm usually in and the bigger picture of trying to win this championship. He lets cars go by. He's avoided the wreck, and for today, a big points day will be just as important for the 60 car.
Well, Junior made a pass there, but he couldn't hold his car down. I think that's going to cost him some spots because Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch went to the inside and hung him out on the outside.
He will lose 2 positions, DJ, exactly as you said. Now pulling right in front of that car, Carl Edwards.
He's going to lose some more spots here as we see Edwards go to the inside along with Jason Keller.
Top of the track, the couple of Roush Fenway partners, the 16 of Biffle and the 6 of Reagan wound up.
Yeah, Carl Edwards is hoping those guys will get there pretty quick so he can try to make a charge
got trouble
back.
here. Got somebody blowing a tire. Looks like Tony Raines and Scott Wimmer are both involved in this.
Yeah, we stay green right now.
Raines had been running in 11th position, having a great run. Wimmer was back in 14th.
You see, a lot of cars having trouble holding on the bottom. Carl Edwards slides up. I really like the position that Brian Vickers is in. He's at the 2nd spot with tires. And I think that these guys behind him will go with him if he tries to make a move.
Well, he's definitely got another Toyota friend right behind him in Kyle Busch, so I think he's counting on that.
I got to think Kyle Busch is thinking about winning this race for himself.
Chevy, a couple of Toyotas, a Ford, and a Chevy. That's the top 5. It'll be 3 to go this time by for Tony Stewart.
We'll have to see what Brian Vickers' thinking is. I don't know that he can wait till the last lap and try to make a move on Tony Stewart.
I'm not sure the guys behind Brian Vickers are going to wait till the last lap. That's going to be the problem. If they pull out, he's going to have to go up and try to make the block and use the momentum.
Wow, he went to the outside here. Kyle Busch to the inside.
Uh-oh, they've left Vickers hanging out. I said, I think Kyle Busch is trying to win this race for himself.
I think Brian thought that they were ready to go with him. He had a big push from him. Those guys had gotten back and he got a big push, and I thought they might get him some help.
A year ago in this race, it was Tony Stewart, the winner, with Kyle Busch finishing 2nd. Kyle Busch finished 2nd in both nationwide races at Daytona in 2008. I think he's tired of being a runner-up.
I think he's tired of 2nd. Now you see Brian Vickers has a little bit of a tire rub on the left front.
Yeah, but it's all going to be a matter of if anybody's going to help Kyle Busch try to go. Is Carl Edwards going to go with him if he goes to make that move? because you can't just pull out and pass by yourself. He might get back and get a run to get beside a Stewart, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we just saw that with Brian Vickers. He made the move, and nobody went with him, and you see what happened.
It'll be the white flag next time by. Rick Hendrick told me that's the only Nationwide car they built in 2 years, the 80 car for Tony Stewart. He said that car is going directly to the museum and then going to tour the dealership. He said, I hope he brings it back in one piece. He's a lap and a half away from maybe another checkered flag at Daytona.
That thing looks awful strong out front. They're going to have a hard time even ganging up and passing that car.
I think they're going to make a run at him here, though.
See, Kyle Busch trying to get to his bumper. He's trying to loosen Tony Stewart up as much as he can.
2 to go this time.
Here they go, coming to the white flag.
Tony Stewart has won 3 of the last 4 at Daytona. Can he hold off his former teammate Kyle Busch? Carl Edwards is hungry behind him, and Clint Boyer, the champ, in 4th spot.
Tony's smart enough. He knows he can't get too far away from those guys, so they'll get a big run on him, and then he won't be able to hold them off.
Right here, it's going to happen. If it's going to happen right here, it'll do it on the straightaway. You see the guys just lining up behind him.
He's obviously guarding the inside. If they're going to pass him, it's going to have to be to the high side. You can see Carl Edwards is just not right there.
He's going to loosen him up. Getting in the corner right here. He's going to loosen Stewart up.
Kyle Busch
got him loose.
Gives him the shove and comes on the inside. Tony is digging back on the outside.
Oh, wow.
What a job, Tony Stewart here to hold the lead.
Here comes Carl Edwards to the outside of Kyle Busch. He's going to be in second. He's got to run.
Tony Stewart will come down and win it. Wow. Stewart, Edwards, Boyer, Kyle Busch, and Biffle. So Tony Stewart, for the 4th time, is a winner at Daytona. Wow.
What a great job of driving there.
Stewart is amazing, I'm telling you. He had his hands full getting in that corner.
Kyle Busch did everything you're supposed to do.
Shit, I thought it was over too. I just kept digging. Sure, I never looked at the white flag.
Rick Hendrick said last night, I talked to him on the phone, he said, we are have so much hope for this car. The 80 number signifies a number of franchises Rick Hendrick has. Said on the side of the car, the .com said fans can log on there and you'll have a chance to register to win the uniform that Tony is going to wear in today's race. And now it is a race-winning uniform you can win.
He put that car in the right hands today. Tony Stewart is about the best I've seen at this kind of racing.
And I think he could be a factor tomorrow, too.
Oh,
Even though it's a new team, and he has a backup car out there. It's the car he ran the Bud Shootout last Saturday night.
Listen to these fans. You don't think these NASCAR stock car fans love what they just saw? What a display of driving talent.
Man, I thought Kyle Busch had done everything right. He got on his bumper, loosened him up, got him out of there, but Tony just stayed in the throttle the whole time.
Tony Stewart won here at Daytona in February a year ago, went on to win at Talladega. So the last 3 restrictor plate nationwide races he has entered, he has won.
Let's hand it to Lance McGrew, too. He made a good call, put tires on that car at the right time, got Tony up front, and then he left it up to that talented driver to bring it home, and he did it.
Good job, buddy. I appreciate it, guys. Great job.
What a final lap. Now watch this little push and nudge here by Kyle Busch.
You can see Stewart's down on the very bottom of the racetrack, so he doesn't have a very good angle into the corner. And Kyle is just shoving him in here.
That's a little bump right there.
You can see how sideways Stewart gets.
Yeah, but stayed in the gas. That's where it looked like Kyle Busch was going to be able to take over right there. Here comes Carl Edwards, saw it on the wheel of his car to the outside. Clint Boyer pushing him. Wow, that's good stuff right there. If you haven't been in the seat of one of things to understand just how loose that gets, how tense you get right there.
Second place had a great look at what was happening in front of him. Carl Edwards able to get up to finish second. Dave?
Guys, guys just waiting for radio to finish up here with Carl Edwards. He has just taken on that little task right there. So he had a great run today and came from way back at a restart, 24th. And Jason Hedleski, your spotter, said, I felt like an auctioneer. How did you guys get to the front?
I was sold on what he was saying. My guys worked really hard. This car was not that good at the beginning. They got it better and better. In the end, man, I could race real hard. Real proud of all the guys. Dan and I worked really well together. It was cool. And there at the end, man, it was so cool. Clint was pushing me, and I thought about like really ramming it in there on the outside of Tony, but I thought, I know I'm going to hit the wall and I'm going to tear this thing up, and I still didn't think I was going to be able to beat him, so I kind of gave him a little room. It ended up working out okay. I wanted to win this thing, but still just a fun race. I mean, that's a heck of a way to start the year.
I was going to say, so at that moment, you weren't thinking about what you said before the race about a great points day, were you?
Well, I had a little, you know what, like the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, and I went ahead and went with the angel this time, and it's a good points day. I mean, it's just so cool, man. At the middle of the race, I thought, man, this is going to be embarrassing. And then the guys came back and did a great job, and just fun, man. Just fun racing with all those guys. Did you see Dale Jr. in the middle of the race with the thing hung out? That was fun. And at the end, coming off the last corner, that was fun. I mean, I'm ready for tomorrow.
All right, the angel and the devil worked together, brought him home second. Jamie?
And Clint Boyer, what a run he had. Led the most laps today. Imagine this, 33. That's your new number in Cup. How much fun did you have getting back out there defending champ?
You know, it was fun, frustrating. Holiday Inn Chevrolet was so fast today, and you know, I want to win here bad. You know, this is the place you work your butt off to get to, and I want to win, but we'll have to wait for it.
All right, you finished third. That finish, what did you see in front of you?
I mean, it was just every man for himself. You know, you're trying to dig, and we didn't take tires there, and it was the right call. Dan stayed out, and you know the 80 didn't. He won the race, and he stayed out. So we'll regroup and go at him again.
All right, that's Clint Boyer. Doc?
Tony Stewart, 4 wins at Daytona in February, and folks, he had to pass 23 cars and 11 laps to come from the back of the pack to get there. And now he's in victory lane. Let's go down to Shannon Spade.
Well, Doc, isn't this a familiar sight? Tony Stewart in victory lane here at Daytona. High fives from all the teams. A big hug from team owner Rick Hendrick. Tony Stewart, huge win for you guys. First of all, I got to ask you, how did you hold off the 18 and the 60 coming down on that last lap?
Not very well almost, but got really, really loose. Kyle pushed me all the way through the corner. It was, if I'd have spun or crashed, I was going to have it out with him on that one. But I don't know how we held on to it, but I think he kind of cut us a break off of 4-2, so he kind of let us back in. But, man, just this HendrickCars.com Chevy is awesome, and thank the fans, man. They've been so good to us, and it's been awesome being back in a Chevy this year. But it's fun to come here with Lance McGrew and these guys on this 80 car and all the 80 franchisees. That's what the number's for, is 80 franchisees at HendrickCars.com, and got a lot of neat cars, so maybe Hendrick will give me one now.
Busy off season for you, busy speed weeks. First win here this week. How meaningful is this for you, Tony?
Well, after this morning, it's great. We lost, both of our cars for the Daytona 500 this morning with Ryan and I, and it's a good way to rebound from us, come out here and win a race.
And we saw one of your guys get hit on pit road. What went through your mind when you saw that happen?
I kept watching the replays. They got the jumbotrons around the racetrack, and I didn't even see him get hit. And I kept watching the screens. They'll normally show where everybody's at, and they kept showing a replay of our pit stop, but I didn't know what happened. But as soon as I saw that he hit the tire, I just called to make sure he was all right, and they said he's tough as nails, so I didn't worry after that.
All right, Tony, got a little time, so we're going to show that last lap on TV again. It was way too exciting for anyone not to watch again. Just walk me through what was going through your mind.
The thing with these cars is you can't get too far ahead, so just kept watching the mirror there and trying not to pull too far forward and stay packed up to the 18 pretty good. And he got to the bumper on the backstretch and literally pushed us all the way into 3 and through halfway through 3 and 4, and we slid up a little bit. I couldn't hold it down because I can't hold it down with the back tires off the ground, but barely held on to it. And I don't know how we came off the corner ahead of him, but the 60 car got a big run off the corner, and it was just try to split the two and make sure we didn't
give him any fresh air.
So what did Rick Hendrick say to you when he leaned in the car when you pulled into victory lane?
He just says this means a lot to the Hendrick organization and all the people at HendrickCars.com. It's it's a neat group of people that with 80 franchisees, and that's why the 80's on the car today. Most people didn't understand what that was about, but it's 80 franchisees that HendrickCars.com has, and man, he's got $90 million of inventory. So whatever you're looking for, I guarantee he's got it.
Well, Tony Stewart in victory lane. It'll definitely be a party down here at Daytona today.
Shannon, here's the best part. You can expect more of this on Sunday. The 51st running of the Daytona 500, and our guys standing by in the studio, Alan, Brad, Rusty, and Ray, getting set for Sports Center. Following our coverage here, getting set, give you a preview of what's going to happen here on Sunday, and will we see Tony Stewart pull off the double? These guys might be able to tell us. Let's check in with Dave.
Greg Biffle had a double in mind today when it started. I saw your car be a perfect 10 for at least a couple laps there. What happened near the end of the race?
Just lost a little bit of the handle. It got a little bit tight in the bottom and got a little bit loose up top, and didn't dare go in the center because that was evil. So we just did the best we can with the City Financial Ford. The guys did a great job. Great pit calls in the pits by Eddie. And just wish I could have messed with those guys or pushed Carl at the end. We were coming, but just a little bit too late.
Eddie told me before the race that he wouldn't pit with less than 10 to go. There were 9 to go when he pitted, so are you glad you got those tires?
Yeah, I told him we're coming for tires because I was holding Matt Kenseth up, my teammate up there in the top. I just so loose I couldn't drive it, and I had to come and get tires. And 10 to go, that was the right call for sure. And we got a great run at the beginning, but then kind of stalled out once we got up near the front because they single filed out.
All right, Greg Biffle finishes 5th today. He'll run Vegas and California in this race car before he hands the wheel over to another driver. Doc?
How much fun can these guys stand in one weekend? I mean, what a finish. Kyle Busch, and you heard Tony Stewart talk about how special this day was for him. Well, how about the guy who owned the car, Rick Hendrick? Shannon.
Big smile on Rick Hendrick's face. I know you're used to going to victory lane, but what is it like to go to victory lane for the first time with Tony Stewart?
Oh, this is a really special deal. Tony has been a good friend, and we're trying to promote our auto group with the Hendrick cars, and we did a one-off deal with 80 franchises, and people can go to that site now and get his uniform. But Tony has got so much talent. Just proud to win a race with him. It's hard to win a race down here. He drove his butt off, and Lance and the guys did a super job. The engine shop, just real proud of them, and it's really neat. It's an unbelievable feeling, and boy, he put on a show. That was a good race.
Yeah, you've seen some exciting finishes in your lifetime in this career in NASCAR. Tell me what was going through your mind when Tony Stewart coming down the front stretch to take that checkered.
Well, with Kyle behind him and the way the cars were kind of all over each other, I didn't know what was going to happen. But I had promised the guys we'd take this car around to the dealerships, and I thought it's not going to be in one piece when it's over. But no, he's one of the best drafters out there. So Lance and the guys, it was, I don't know, man, it was just nerve-wracking and exciting and all of the above, but these guys just did a super job. We're proud of him, proud of Tony. Great job.
Well, Tony Stewart will be back in this car at Charlotte. Maybe Rick Hendrick will have to talk him into doing a couple more races, huh, Doc?
Gotta believe he would love having Tony Stewart in his car. Any race he could get him in there. Well, guys, what a sweetheart of a race. Valentine's Day here in Daytona did not disappoint.
No, not at all. And, Tony Stewart did a great job, and all these other guys we talk about. I look down the list. Jason Keller in the top 10, finishing ninth. That's a great day for him. And how about Joe Nemechek, who really just put this deal together just recently to come home 13th?
Yeah, a lot of guys got good finishes. Even DJ Kennington got a top 20 finish. Brendan Gaughan, a lot of guys had a good finish today.
19 lead changes, 11 different drivers led the race, and we're just beginning, guys. We head to California next week, but 34 more races to go in what should be a fabulous season for the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Certainly started off with a bang here at Daytona.
Yeah, and even though the drivers are going to change in some of the cars next week when we get there, I don't look for the racing to change much. It's going to be pretty exciting then, too.
For the 4th time at Daytona in February, the name works. Yes, Tony Stewart's nickname is Smoke, and once again, as he did a year ago, Tony smoked him on the last lap, holding off to win it here in February at Daytona. Tony Stewart wins it at Daytona, and can he pull off the double? Well, can he do it for the Daytona 500? Sports Center coming up next from our pit studio. Let's go down to the guys. Here's Alan Bestwick.